The crowd looks the same. The track looks the same, but it's not.
Welcome to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Close to 100,000 fans on hand to enjoy the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series in the All-Pro Bumper to Bumper 300 today. Ken Squire talked a moment ago about changes. The biggest change here at Charlotte, after discussing it for a long time, the Speedway surface has been completely redone. There's brand new asphalt all the way around this mile-and-a-half super speedway, and that's changed the mix for everybody here this week. It's caused a lot of excitement. 13 of these Busch Grand National drivers crashed in practice and qualifying leading up to today's event, and it puts into question just exactly what we're going to see here in the next couple of minutes. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. Welcome to the Allison Zook Alliance Pit Communications Center today on TBS Sports. It's great to have you along. More than $400,000 on the line. Only a couple of Busch Grand National races left in the season, so the point battle is at stake here as well today. And a whole long list of great drivers, some Winston Cup visitors and all the Busch Grand National regulars here to do battle today. Some of the top names had to run a special qualifying race yesterday to get in the show here today. That's how competitive it was. Many drivers having to load up and go home. A couple of the drivers who've done very well this week so far are standing by with Randy Pemberton on pit road.
Well, it's no surprise, the front row, at least the pole, it's Mark Martin and his Winn-Dixie Ford. He has led every race he's entered in 1994, all 12, 3 pole positions, and he's looking for his 3rd win of the season. On the outside of row 1 will be Joe Nemechek, the winner of the 1992 Busch Series Championship. Only 2 top 10s. He's looking for his 2nd win of 1994 here today. Dick Berggren?
Well, we've got some rookies in the back of the field with some damaged racing equipment, Randy. Here's Johnny Benson, and he won the most recent race in this series, but unfortunately he can't bring the car here to race that he won the event with. Why? It's in the back of the truck. It's all crashed, bent it all up in qualifying. Starting right in front of him is a 2-time winner, Dennis SETZER, and his car is all bent up, but he's going to try to run it anyway. Dennis, why are these cars getting bent up?
Well, it's kind of a funny deal here. The cars are so fast, and everybody's trying to make the last-minute adjustments before qualifying to get the extra little bit of speed. But, you know, the Alliance Tractor Trailer Training Centers team, they've done a great job working on this thing all day yesterday. I think we've got a good piece for this race.
It was really wrecked a little while ago, for sure. And part of the problem is the season is ending. They're all driving like there's no tomorrow. Here's the man who will call today's race, Ken Squire.
Well, thank you, Richard. 45 cars are down here ready to go. That looks like a whopping field, but the last time we were here, it was rapidly reduced. 13 blown engines, 10 cars in the wall, and Darrell Waltrip, a former winner of this race. Can we expect those kind of marks again today?
Oh, I think so, Ken. The thing that's so confusing to these drivers is weather conditions. When the sun is in and it's overcast like it is right now, the track is really tight. This new surface has got a lot of grip to it, and the tires are really sticking, and the guys can almost run the track wide open. When the clouds go away and the sun comes out, we're right back to the same old Charlotte we've seen here for the last 20 years. Turns 3 and 4 become like an ice skating rink, and the only thing that'll hold them in the field then is the big old concrete wall, and they're going to find that real frequently if that sun pops out.
Well, there's still a bit of a dip down here in turn 3, and there's some ripples in turn 4. It ought to get real interesting when they drop the green shortly on our broadcast of this 300. Back with you at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, where we're ready to take a look at the Texaco Haviland starting grid for this Busch Grand National 300-mile race. The All-Pro bumper-to-bumper event has Mark Martin on the pole with a new record. Alongside is Joe Nemechek and his Chevrolet. In row 2, there's Todd Bodine in the Ernie Urban car. And beside him comes Tracy Leslie. In row 3 for this afternoon's action, Bobby Hillen, great qualifying effort. And Hermie Sadler from Virginia. In row 4, it's the current point leader, David Green, and Mike Magic Shoes McLaughlin. In row 5, winner in May, Phil Parsons, and Jason Keller, outstanding qualifying run. In row 6 today, Tim Bender, the former snowmobile world champion, and Dale Jarrett. As to the rest of the field this afternoon, goes like this. In row 7, it's Bobby Labonte and Larry Pearson, twice national champion, Chad Little and Terry Labonte in row 8. Going to row 9, there's Kenny Wallace and Michael Waltrip, a former winner here at Charlotte and GN. Derek Cope and Dale Earnhardt. They're in row 10. Row 11 today is Stevie Reeves from Indiana, Elton Sawyer on the inside. Row 12, Gant and Marlin. In row 13 will be Stanton Barrett back since that time he was in an incident here in May, and Dave Resendez, Jim Bown and Joe Bessey from Scarborough, Maine in row 14. Row 15 today is Doug Hevron and Rodney Combs. Row 16 is Ricky Craven, currently number 2 in points, and Dennis Setzer. For row 17, Bobby Dotter from Chicago was there. Johnny Benson alongside. Roy Payne and Ken Schrader make up row 18. Row 19, Jimmy Hensley and Robert Presley. Tim FEDEWA and Jeff Green are back there in row 20. The 21st row is Dirk Stevens and David Bonnet made the field. Row 22, Kevin LePage from Shelburne, Vermont, and Ed Berry are there. And rounding out the field, provisional starter Steve Grissom, defending Grand National champion. Gets himself all the way in the back end of this field as they get ready to go, DW.
Yeah, Grissom had to take a provisional in today's race. He had to take a provisional in tomorrow's race, too. So he's improvising, I guess you could say, to get into these races this weekend.
Let's take a look at this MasterCard race analysis. Here you see the posted awards. That's a big field of cars. They had a big field like this at Loudon, 45 strong. That 141-mile-an-hour record, Sam Ard, back when you were doing so well in this, about 83.
Oh yeah, that was the era.
And we're going to take a moment right now and go down to the garage area for a very special interview. Standing by is Randy Pemberton with somebody you want to meet.
Ladies and gentlemen, proud to introduce someone we've been missing in this sport for a few weeks. Ernie Irvan standing by. His car is on the grid today. Ernie, first question. You look good. How are you feeling?
Feeling really good. You know, 2 weeks ago I didn't really think I'd be feeling this good, but you know, everything's really shaping up, and sure like to be here racing.
Yeah, it's the first race that you've been to. Of course, your car's starting third today.
Yeah, I tell you, you know, Todd's really done a good job with us, and you know, he qualified third, and really running good in practice. So just got done having a few words with him, and you know, told him that they paid for the last lap. So I'm interested in seeing how he'll do.
Ernie, we as well as all the fans across the country and around the world, glad to see you back.
Well, I tell you, you know, a lot of the prayers and everything were answered, and let me be here today.
Enjoy the race today.
Thanks.
And we hope you folks at home will enjoy the race today. This is the one that has that intermission at the midway. Lines them all back up for the second half. It's always a thriller, always spectacular when you see Grand National at Charlotte.
These are just flakes.
Well, what do you think?
These are really good. They're crispy, too.
Really?
Yeah, they're mighty good even with nothing on them. What are they?
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes?
How could I be so dumb?
You got 500 miles to think about it.
Kellogg's is proud to sponsor NASCAR champion Terry Labonte.
And pole sitter Mark Martin onboard camera 176.696 to break Bobby Dotter's mark of 174. And here's Scarborough, Maine's Joe Bessey in the DARRELL car number 97 getting ready to go to work. Pace car is coming in. And Derek Cope will carry a camera in the Allison Zook Alliance car as we come down for that green flag, and we're underway. Martin and Nemechek bring them to the line. Welcome to TBS live coverage of the All-Pro Bumper-to-Bumper 300.
Well, Ken, we had just a little rain here just before the start of the race, but it was very light, and I don't think it'll have any effect on the racetrack whatsoever, and looks like a good clean start.
Jason Keller, who had qualified so well, went side by side for the lead here in the early going. He had to change cars, so he fell back to the rear on that start. Through 4 for the first time.
Well, they look good, Ken. They're 2 abreast back through the field, just about like they started, and it's a good clean start, like I said. And I tell you, you might as well get all the feel of these V6 engines you want, because next year you won't hear the hum of these babies. They're going to V8s next year, and we won't have to listen to these loud old V6s anymore.
Kind of shrill, aren't they?
Oh, they are. They bust your eardrums. They really are loud.
Well, Dr. Dick Berggren was remarking before the race, look at this battle further back. There's McLaughlin, 5th place, going up and around Bobby Hillen, the black number 99. We may see a lot of engines expire because it is the end of the 6-cylinder series, and they'll be knitting a few of these together and maybe not putting quite as much work into them as they did a year ago.
Well, V6s are high maintenance engines. They take the V6 Buick takes a crankshaft about every 2 or 3 races, and they are high maintenance, but I'm sure guys will be trying to milk all out of them they can for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Take a look at Hermie Sadler down on the bottom as he continues to fight his way through. McLaughlin closing right up in there.
Boy, I tell you, Ken, this is nerve-wracking racing right here. If anything happens here in the front of these cars that are running 3rd, 4th, and on back, we're lined up too wide right here. This is really, really close racing. I hope everything stays close and tight.
At 28 car, Todd Bodine right in there as they stay 2 abreast all the way around. Take a look at this pack, the second pack. The 2 leaders have busted away out there. Martin and Nemechek have drawn away by 20-25 car. This is for 2nd spot, and it's about a 30-car shootout for it right now.
I don't think I've never seen racing like this at Charlotte. This is more like Daytona and Talladega, and the cars are sticking so well, this new surface, and the tires are great. And the guys, I know it looks bad, but I'm sure they're having a lot of fun. Oh, we got a blown engine on Earnhardt.
Whoa. Trying to get out from behind LABONTE. It's that Ventine car around as Earnhardt expires early. And remember, he blew up big time yesterday, too. Not having much fun here this week.
I know Earnhardt's not on a tight budget, but he might be trying to get all out of those V6s he can for next year.
2 2/10 the difference between Nemechek and now Martin in 2nd. Back to the 3rd place man, who now becomes Todd Bodine. He moves around Hermie Sadler. 5 laps are complete in the first 100 to be run here this afternoon.
Well, this is just about the point, Ken, when the tires are starting to kind of neutral up and the cars are freeing up a little bit. And this is when you can see some excitement if we're not careful here.
All this double file running, and triple is allowing the 2 leaders, Nemechek and Martin, to draw away. The advantage continues to grow.
Well, they are right where every race driver would like to be. Way out in front of this Marley back here and behind them that it's just got disaster written all over it.
They had the tarps on about half the cars 15 minutes before the race. Put that out of your mind, or does it make you a little tentative when you come down to that line, DW?
Well, you think about it, but again, we've got so much grip here with this new surface that it's not really hurting it at all. I mean, it's made the track maybe even better, may have cooled it off a tad.
Take a look at this interval, folks. There you see the 2 leaders, and that at lap 7, 3 4/10 of a second, Darrell, from that 2nd to 3rd place runner.
Well, unlike the past here, where maybe drafting wasn't a big factor, we're running 180 miles an hour down these straightaways.
In the wall.
Todd Bodine.
Ernie Irvin's car slapped right in there, and he's got a tire rubbing.
He does, and he's right in the way, and oh goodness, he's going to get right up in front of the field before he gets down into pit lane.
Drops it down through 4.
Everybody did a great job, Ken, of getting around that race car. The spotter, that's where a spotter really was a key to that.
Take a look at this. That's Bobby Hillen in the 99. How fast?
I don't believe that Bobby really got into Todd. I believe that Todd's car Bobby took the air off the front of the car, and the car jumped into the fence.
How fast down in there off 2?
Well, off of 2, you know, we're running 180 on the straights. He's doing about 165 or 70 off that corner.
Working the 10th lap right now, the 2 leaders, Nemechek and Martin, on pit road. Getting some service for car number 28 is Todd Bodine. Dick Berggren has a report on Dale Earnhardt.
Well, we're used to seeing you run real fast, but usually not run this short. What happened to it? Did you blow it?
Yeah, it's the 2nd engine we broke this week. Really not good for us. You know, we try to give Jim Goodrich a good day's work for pay, and we've not done that lately. So we're going to have to definitely research our program before we go to Rockingham and see if we can't come up with some better engine program.
Well, the V8s that they'll run next year should be more reliable than these V6s.
Well, there's another car smoking here, the 92 car, Larry Pearson. He just brought up a big ball of smoke coming out of turn 4 here. We'll have to keep an eye on him.
Earnhardt, who qualified 20th, first retiree from the race, and that before 10 laps was completed. Now the Stanley Tool cars with Larry Pearson having some trouble out here.
Well, we were talking about drafting a little bit ago, Ken, and the reason that these 2 front cars are able to pull away the way they have been is because there's such a race going on back in the field here. These guys are running 2 and 3 wide, and they're slowing themselves down, and the 2 front guys are just pulling away just by several hundredths a lap.
Larry Pearson, who had been running in nights, showing some smoke. Another retiree about to come in. We've completed 11 under green thus far, folks, at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the preview to the 500 tomorrow. 15 laps complete as Nemechek and Martin continue to waltz away from the field, building up a tremendous advantage. There you see them down the back straightaway up on the 24-degree banking of 3 and 4. Had Larry Pearson pit back in the second time. Take a look at that interval. Was the Ernie Irvin car. Todd Bodine, he's back out, so he's gone a couple laps down. Remember that guy we were talking about that started 45th today, defending national champion Steve Grissom? What a run he's making. Take a look at that number 31, the blue car. Up to 20th position, Darrell.
Yeah, he really took advantage of some of that side-by-side racing and was able to get by a lot of guys there on the start. And I tell you, Ken, attrition is going to be a big factor in this race. That's becoming pretty obvious, too.
There he is, knocking on the door of Kenny Wallace. So that would be, he's challenging for 17th. He's taken Schrader, and he's taken Tracy Leslie in the 72 as well.
Yeah, he's closed up on the back of Kenny Wallace here. And that car is flying. He really is getting the job done.
Let's take a look at the Napa rundown. You see them after 15 laps of the 200 complete. Remember, we have a midway break, which is really a 5-lap caution period, but you can't lose any spots while you're on pit road. We'll tell you more about that later. Look at Chad Little whistling down on the inside as he tries to keep himself in contention for the national title. Currently lying third. That's the yellow and black number 23. Last time he was on this track, he was the victim of a crash going to turn number 1. Little broke a leg. In the Allison Zip car, Derek Cope giving you these remarkable pictures right up on Tim Bender. Gets down to the inside.
Cope won a race earlier this year at New Hampshire in that car, and that's Red Farmer is the crew chief on that car, and Cope drives, and that's Bobby Allison's. And the Zook have gone together there and created an alliance.
14th. Got trouble up in turn number 4. One car snags the wall. That's Schrader, and he brings out the yellow. First caution of the day at lap 19. The AC Delco car of Schrader just got up high coming through 3 and couldn't get it down. And he's going right to the garage area in car number 52. And you can see the back end of that car sandwiched. Bad day for Ken Schrader.
Ken, there's so many unknowns about a new surface like this. The tires, the track itself, what will it take? What will the cars be able to do? And I think what we're seeing here is some guys that are kind of stretching the envelope just a little bit. Yeah, he just lost the back end, came out from that car there in that infamous 3 and 4, and he got it up into the wall, and of course it did really significant damage. He's really lucky right here. The wheels are turned to the left, and the car just comes right down into the pit lane, right in front of oncoming traffic at about 175 miles an hour. So the spotters, again, I just can't say enough about what the spotters do for these race cars.
We'll take a break right now in the first caution period at lap number 20 with Joe Nemechek in first, Mark Martin in second, and McLaughlin third.
Back at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the All-Pro Bumper-to-Bumper 300, the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series live on TBS this Saturday afternoon. Great to have you with us today. Our first caution period of the afternoon. After just about 20 laps of racing, Ken Schrader getting into the wall up in turns 3 and 4, bringing out the yellow, and everyone getting an opportunity to check their automobiles over and make sure they're set to go for the next green flag period that we're about to embark on. One of the stories we'll be bringing you this afternoon, we'll be watching all the pit work that's done here today, and at the end of the day, we'll award the Advanced Auto Parts Pits Done Quickly Award to the team exhibiting the most teamwork on our broadcast this afternoon on TBS Sports. At the end of the broadcast, the winner will receive a donation in that team's name to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of America from Advance and from TBS Sports. Dick Berggren standing by now in the garage area with one of the drivers who got into some early trouble, Todd Bodine.
And Todd Bodine has run sportsman cars here, Busch cars, Winston Cup. He hasn't won in any of them, but thought today was one of his best opportunities ever. What happened?
Well, you know, this Mac Tools Ford was a little loose to start with, and we were just trying to bide our time and get it fixed for the end of the race. And I was just letting everybody go. You know, I'm not going to race hard at the first few laps. There's no sense in it, and letting everybody go. And I let Bobby Hillin go under me, and you know, he didn't realize I was still on the outside of him coming off a 2, and he just pinched me in the wall. You know, I got on the brakes and tried to get out of the hole, but it was just too late, and I ended up getting in the wall. It's a shame, you know. I wanted to run good for Ernie, and these guys, they work hard, and it's just a real shame.
They wanted it for Ernie for sure. Randy Pemberton.
Well, there's been a couple of guys on pit road. Johnny Benson Jr. on pit road right now. They're working inside the car, and his car gave him a dash of gas. Larry Pearson, to update you on him, a valve cover loose on that car. They've tightened it down. They've retaped the hood pins. He's back out 4 or 5 laps down. Bobby Dotter changed right side tires under that caution. Dennis Setzer, the rookie leader, he changed a little air pressure in the left rear and took a little tape off the front of the grill. He was running a little hot, I guess.
Okay, we're getting set on a restart here. As they'll come around, there will be 24 complete, and there's David Green.
Yeah. And just an update on our point leader here, David Green. He started 10th. He's currently running 7th, and Ricky Cravens, who started 31st, is up to 21st. So qualifying is not always indicative of how a car is going to run in the race.
And up to 17th from 45th has moved Grissom. Down for a start with Nemechek on those Hoosiers in front, then Mark Martin, McLaughlin, Goodyear second and third, and Phil Parsons on Hoosiers in 4th as they take green.
Yeah, I'm sure this was a timely caution for everybody, Ken, because they'd run just enough laps to really get a judge on what the tires are going to be like, what the wear is, and I think the drivers will be much more comfortable now.
Benson had moved up about 12 spots before he had to come in and get that window net straightened away. Himself back out there. Good move by Parsons down on the inside. That battle for third. McLaughlin hangs on the outside, and the former national modified champion retains 3rd spot. Parsons ducks back in, driving a very consistent race, just as he did in May, and then put the spurs to it in the last 20 laps to win that event.
Boy, our points leader right there, David Green, in the 44 car. I know he's holding his breath right now. Here you are leading the points, and they're 3 wide. They're all around you. He just wants to get himself out of that situation.
Derek Cope is right in the middle of his bundle.
There's no way to avoid this kind of racing. You know, you would probably like to not be 3 wide, 2 wide, or whatever, but you just can't avoid it.
Cope in 14th, closes on Sadler.
That blue car on the inside there going into turn 1, Ken, he was 3 wide through the tri-oval. That's Grissom, and he is moving through the field. I tell you, that car is really fast.
Meanwhile, up in front, take a look at this lead battle. On board with Mark Martin. He's cutting down to the inside up there in that turn 3 over those bumps, and he's making a bid as they come down across the tri-oval. You're riding with Mark Martin up to about 185 mile an hour here.
This is Mark's style right here, Candy. Let Joe run out front for a while, and he sized him up, and Mark sees that his car's in good shape tire-wise and everything, and he's going to take the lead, and I wouldn't surprise me if he checks right on out.
Mark Martin, who has led in 13 of the 14 Busch Grand National races in which he's competed this season.
You know,
once again in front.
The thing about Mark, I tell him all the time, Mark, you got a camera in the car. Could you make it look a little more difficult? He puts that left arm up on the window, and he just kind of rides along with like he's on a little Sunday ride here or something. I thought, could he work a little bit harder and make it look like it's harder than it is?
Probably what we can do to help is put a little light on that camera for folks like you. When the light comes on, you know you can kind of squelch down in the seat, wipe your face off.
At least sweat a little bit.
Look at McLaughlin moving here in 3rd spot. Meanwhile, Steve Reeves is back on pit road, car number 96. But the battle right now, they've closed up. McLaughlin making a great run in on Nemechek in the number 87.
McLaughlin has done an incredible job of getting comfortable in that race car this year. He wasn't that good this year early on, but he is now.
Take a look at Grissom, that blue car down on the inside, the Channel Master number 31. That run continues by Grissom, and it's mind-boggling. Here he is up to 16th position there.
Well, that car is handling excellent, but he also has a lot of straightaway speed, and I don't know what he did to that car since qualifying, but he's got it fixed. Oh, we got in trouble up the turn.
That's Bender, Tim Bender, from the state of New York. Hard in the wall, and another car gets caught, and this one is not over. Trying to get them hoed, and that's when they get them collected.
Boy, that was a hard impact by several cars, Ken. Hard impact.
Tim Bender's car breaking loose.
That's the 75 car. That's the 15 car.
Doug Heveron's in it.
The 36. I'd give you names, but I'm just looking for numbers right now.
Oh, there's Bender where it all started, and he's coming out. Dirk Stevens for sure is in it. And I wouldn't be surprised to see David Bonnet's car. There's David Bonnet's 03, top of the frame.
Yeah, that's Bonnet's car. That's my old car, by the way.
David's car is your old car?
Yeah, I sold that to that group of people, and David was driving the car, and Jake Elder's the crew chief on it. So I know Jake's going to have a little work cut out for him here.
David Bonnet did a great job in that consolation race. 40-lap consi yesterday, folks. Let's take a look again.
The back end just comes around right there. That's what happens. So many guys in that 3 and 4 area, and when it does, and the cars are running so close together, there's just you just can't, everybody can't miss him. There's a lucky guy or two. There goes the 15 car.
Dirk Stevens.
Dirk Stevens, but he comes right back up in the racetrack, right in front of the 75 car, and David Bonnet. Just hard for everybody to get through.
Another look at the end of this fracas. This happened at lap 29, folks.
See, that car's turned just, I mean, the whole racetrack, for all practical purposes, is blocked by one race car. Some people are able to get through. Right here, the 15 car backs back up in the racetrack. That wouldn't have been quite as bad an accident if he could have kept that car on the bottom of the racetrack, but it went right up in front of those oncoming cars.
Took David Bonnet's car hard in the front end. Heveron's car crashed as well. The car with the green numbers, and David Bonnet's okay. He's out of his car and walking about. Tim Bender out of his automobile as he was riding on the outside of Harry Gant when it all began. 31 laps complete. Back in a moment. Back with you live as they complete lap 33. Race run in 2 100-lap segments. Grand National competition at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Major wreck in turn 3 and 4. And again, this is what happened. White car on the outside of number 7 Gant. Tim Bender getting loose.
Yeah, he just gets the back end out. He was trying to run on the outside of Harry. Probably got a little air sucked off the car, but the track's pretty well blocked right here. Here comes oncoming traffic.
FEDEWA getting by.
Here comes the 15 car. He probably got hit from the rear more than likely, but he backs right up in front of 2 oncoming cars, and they're trying to get by. And they come down the racetrack and collect a couple of other guys. And we got a major mess on our hands right there.
Benson ducked another.
He did a great job
there
of going in between. I mentioned the spotters a couple of times, Ken. These are the guys that are in direct communication with the drivers of the cars. When they see a car like that 36 break loose, they start talking to their driver instantly, and they tell him, go high, go low, the track's blocked, the car's going here, the cars are going there. And they try to lead their driver through a mess like that. And they do an excellent job, and they avoid a lot of accidents. They help drivers avoid a lot of accidents. But in that case, there were just so many cars and going everywhere that it's hard to miss them all. But that's a great safety aspect that we have for us right now. We talk to our spotter more than we talk to our crew chief. He tells us where all the smoke is, what it is, where oil is, where wrecks are, what NASCAR is saying. They really are in direct communication constantly with the driver.
I should remind the folks at home that pits are closed at this time, and that's why nobody's come in here. The field stays. The wreck is right at the top of pit road as they bring in the car of David Bonnet after it was caught up in this very bad crash. He's fine. 34 laps are complete.
Hey, race fans, Budweiser asks, who won? September 7th, 1991 at Richmond International Raceway. Pole sitter Rusty Wallace in car number 2 takes the early lead. Davey Allison in the 28 car begins to pressure Wallace for the lead. Harry Gant's 33 charged through the pack from a 13th place start, while Ernie Irvin in car number 4 and Alan Kowicki in the 7 battled in a tight duel as both closed in on the leaders. But who won? Here's a list of the contenders. We'll have the winner when we return. It shows Harry Gant, you're right. Here's how things unfolded. Davey Allison and Rusty Wallace were both black flagged for speeding on pit road, and that opened the door for Ernie Irvin to take the lead. But while dueling with Alan Kowicki, both drivers crashed on lap 312, and it caused spinouts by Harry Gant and Morgan Shepherd. Gant recovered quickly and fell in behind Davey Allison for second. With 19 laps to go, Harry squeezed by Davey and held on to take the checkered flag. Who Won is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers, with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud.
And we're back with 36 laps complete. On the board, wholesale change of positions. A lot of pit activity going on. Ken Squire here with Darrell Waltrip, and I can't believe that you needed an adrenaline. You had to get coffee, a little caffeine to keep you going here.
I knew this was going to be an exciting race. I knew it was going to be a race that is hard for someone like me to watch, because I've been out there. I know what the drivers are thinking. I know what's going through their heads. I know when they run side by side, 3 wide like they do here today, I know that it can cause problems. And so knowing all that, I sat here with a great deal of anticipation waiting for something to happen. And when you do that, you get a little hyper.
Well, you're going to double your money here. Darrell, are you glad you're not in this race as you look forward to tomorrow on that 5? I know you used to love to run this race. This was one of your favorites.
I love this race. I love this track. But yes, I'm glad I'm not out there. I'm glad I'm up here with you, Ken. I'd rather be up here with a trained professional like you than out there on the racetrack taking my chances.
Where's Randy?
Well, about the middle of pit road, just to update, a lot of cars came in under that caution. Dennis SETZER, he was looking for flat spots on his tires. He had to lock them up from that wreck up there in 3 and 4. As well, besides Dennis SETZER, Johnny Benson Jr., he changed rights. SETZER changed rights. David Green changed rights. The 2 car of Ricky Craven also changed right side tires. So wholesale pit stops down here. Dick Berggren?
David's at. Well, we had some pit stops up at the front of the pack, too. The 60, Mark Martin, came in. He changed 2 tires. He had made some of his fastest laps just before that round of pit stops. The 87 car, Nemechek, came in, too. But the 60, Mark Martin, beat him out of the pits.
So there's an update as to what's happened on pit road, and we now have Elton Sawyer leading. Ford Motor Credit Company announcing this week it will sponsor Elton's car for the 1995 season at T-Bird. Congratulations to Elton Sawyer. Hope he has a great year. More from Charlotte after this.
Charlotte Motor Speedway. Rick Benjamin with you on TBS Sports this afternoon. And the Allison Zook Alliance Pit Communication Center today. We'll tell you a little more about Bobby Allison's new Working with Ron Zook Motorsports team. On pit road right now, Dick Berggren standing by.
And I'm standing by with David Bonnet, and what's left of David Bonnet's race car. What happened out there, David?
I don't know, Dick. I've just a bunch of smoke, and I thought I picked the right line, and something happened. Somebody slid up in front of me. Wasn't nothing I could do. I hit Dirk Stevens right in the door, and he's okay. You know, I got to thank Hank Parker for giving me this opportunity, and the Delco board people for putting their sponsorship on this race car and giving us a chance. We had a good race car today. I really thought we could finish good.
You can tell he's okay. He got all his sponsors in.
Yeah, old Hank Parker, he's a jewel. That's the guy I sold all my Busch stuff to, and they've had a lot of problems. But Jake's over there working on the car, and I think David's going to make a good driver.
It's 29. Guy that won it here in May. Parsons moving along up there. We were watching the Teddy Bear car. It was 3rd. It didn't hit there. It shot right to the rear, went back to about 10th. Steady Teddy. Kevin LePage, at least he got up in the top 3 from him, and he almost didn't make the show. He lost a car. He crashed one out of here back a couple of days.
Well, it could happen to anybody at this moment. And, you know, these cars are just running really fast. And it's a small racetrack when you start talking about running 180 miles an hour.
Second place battle beginning to develop here. See the 20? That's Jimmy Hensley in the Randy LaJoie car. Got a snoot full of Mark Martin down to the bottom. Martin in the 60, charging back up to 2nd spot, and as you look out back, here comes McLaughlin with him in the red and yellow number 34.
Jimmy Hensley will give that 20 car a good ride. That's a fast car, and it's been really good on super speedways. I don't think they may have gotten tires on their stop, but I don't think they did.
LaJoie has won a race in that 20 car this year, and just to update you, he is okay, but he suffered a mild concussion in that crash and decided that better let him wait a few days before he got back in to compete. So Jimmy Hensley has stepped into that car, giving him a good ride at the present time.
We don't have quite the traffic jam that we had here when we at the start of the race, but still we've got quite a few cars running side by side, and that makes for some exciting racing.
You see the 32. Jarrett trying to go under McLaughlin. That's for 4th. Elton Sawyer stays well in front.
Harry Gant slowing down again. I don't know what his problem is, but he's off the pace here through the trial.
And into turn number 1, Gant falls back behind 6 or 7 cars. Harry Gant's car number 7 in trouble, and that looks like it could be the end of the day for the 87 and 91 winner of this race, Harry Gant.
Well, Harry's retiring, as everybody knows, and I know this is not this is a little early for his retirement today, though. He would like to run this whole race, and he always runs well here, so he had a chance to win, I'm sure.
21 Grand National wins, a lot of them for Ed Whitaker. They're hoping to have a good day. That car 7 is coming in, and we'll see what the story is here, but it came in very slow.
He might have scared that car in that crash up there when that 36 was on the outside of him. He might have decided to quit running.
Temperamental.
He got really out. Harry gets a car like that.
33 showing some smoke now. LABONTE in the Dentine car. That car backing up. Looks like another one's losing a cylinder.
Well, I think, Ken, that we're going to see high attrition. The pace is fast, incredibly fast, as a matter of fact. And then what people are going to lose engines, and then what crashes we're going to have, we could really see high attrition today.
Staying well up out of the line. And those guys get underneath him. Now cutting back across. Now take a look at here at 44. There's Green making a run and getting under Kenny Wallace. That's back in 19th position.
When you're the point leader and you see people crashing and falling out of the race, you know you just got to stay out of trouble and get the best possible finish you can on a day when everybody else is having trouble. That's how you win the championship.
Leaders. Elton Sawyer's Ford stays front with Mark Martin in second. As we update after 45 laps the field for you on this 1.5 mile track. Tomorrow it's 500 miles. The Mellow Yellow 500 you'll be seeing on TBS. And DW is going to take off the tie, put on the helmet, start 35th. You're in pretty good company. Earnhardt's back there with you tomorrow.
Yeah, he and I started back like that at Dover, and I told him, I said, look, you go by me in the first turn, I do not want you behind me, and then I'll follow you the rest of the way. And sometimes he gets there quicker than I do, but we end up in the same place.
Yeah. We'll see tomorrow, folks.
Hey, I'm not kidding. You say that like I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm not kidding.
I'm not doubting you. Will I doubt Darrell Waltrip?
Mark takes the lead there. You know, Mark's car has been incredibly fast everywhere he's run this year, and he's pretty much the benchmark in this series right now, and everybody knows that, and that's who they're shooting at right now.
So Elton's got a lot of help for next year. Ford credit, and that red carpet folks, they're going to stay with him. He ought to have a super team.
Oh, he does. Bob Sutton owns that team, and I tell you, I like Elton Sawyer a lot. He's a sharp young man, and he's a good race car driver, and I think he's got the potential to move up the Cup one of these days.
There you see McLaughlin, Jarrett, 32 and 34, having a pretty good tussle at the present time, and Chad Little's in there just behind them. So the way they're deployed, that's 4th, 5th, 6th.
So far, the Cup guys haven't fared too well. Kenny Schrader's out, Earnhardt's out. Several of the Cup guys have had trouble. Bobby LABONTE is out. Speaking of the LABONTEs, where is Terry? That sucker will slip around here, and you won't know where he is, and he'll just be riding along. The next thing you know, down near the end of the race, all of a sudden you see that white 14 right at the front.
He's 10th right now. Here's Dick Berggren.
Well, Harry Gant has won 4 Busch Series races here in Charlotte. Not today. What went wrong with it, Harry?
Well, I think we broke a push rod or a rocker arm. It started missing, and you know, we get a little extra high today and try to lay back and get things sorted out. Really finish today. We really hope we can be able to win the last Busch race we're going to run here, but you know, all we could do, and it was still, you know, we broke. So maybe we'll do better at Rockingham.
And tomorrow, and we'll see him tomorrow on TBS in the Winston Cup show.
Indeed. Last ride here, won his first super speedway event in '82. Stanton Barrett had a good qualifying mark, 25th. Retiring Wendy's car out of this Grand National race. 51 laps are now complete. So in the first segment of this race, we're better than halfway. And it continues to be a good squabble up in front. Martin Sawyer and the second place battle. There's Nemechek right there fighting for second, bottom of the blue car. McLaughlin right with him.
Nemechek's on Hoosier tires, and that was the hot tip here in May. You know, Phil Parsons won this race on Hoosier tires. I don't think we've run enough green flag laps to really evaluate which tire is the best as far as endurance goes.
What's the compound here?
Well, it's
as opposed to tomorrow.
Pretty close. The Hoosiers are softer than the Goodyears, which traditionally they have been. Hoosier seems to gamble a little bit more that the track and the pace will come to them, where Goodyear's a little bit more conservative most of the time.
Darrell, do you wish they had one spec tire and called it a day?
They have it in every other series. In all the NASCAR series, they have a tire rule, and we desperately need one here. It's costing the owners a ton of money. It's hurting drivers. And I'm sympathetic of the tire manufacturer. I'm sympathetic of NASCAR. I'm sympathetic as a car owner, but something needs to be done.
54 laps complete as Martin leads. Nemechek has come to second. Take a look at Sterling Marlin back here in the 4 car, and Derek Cope. Derek Cope driving for the Allison team. Allison Zook, he's up in 12th. Sterling with him.
Those are good race cars, and you never know how hard these guys are running. Sometimes they just wait to the break and make adjustments to their cars and then go hard in the second half.
On board with Derek Cope.
Yeah, that cable flopping around there is the roof flap cable. That's what that little washer at the bottom of that cable, when the flap comes open, that goes up against the roof there, and that's what keeps the flap from coming, it keeps it at 90 degrees. So that's just all that is, a cable flopping around in there for the roof flap.
Now, I can't believe they have anything like that in Earnhardt's car with his peripheral vision. That bothered him.
Well, yeah.
It sees out the back of his head.
It's amazing what bothers him and what doesn't. Very little bothers him, I might add.
Cars you're looking at right now are about 5 1/10 of a second from the leader as you watch Jimmy Hensley in car number 20, 11th spot, right up there with Derek Cope in that struggle. Gives you some sense of those banks. 1.5 miles of the 24-degree bank, Darrell. 1.5 miles of the 24-degree bank. How does that feel as opposed to 31 degrees down at Daytona?
Well, you get so much grip here. You get a lot of G-forces, more than you do even at Daytona, with the surface being the way it is. And if you watch those cars from an aerial view, how quickly they go around that turn, you'll get some sensation of what it feels like.
More of the action here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway as Mark Martin continues to dominate in Grand National Racing. Can he stay that way? We'll see. Providing these aerial shots of today's race, Advance Auto Home. A PDQ, parts delivered quick. Pretty exciting stuff from the top side here today.
Yeah, it really is, and if you keep an eye on that interval between the 87 car Nemechek and our leader, Mark Martin, that will not change. Mark's only going to run hard enough to keep Nemechek about 15, 20 car lengths back. Take care of the tires and get to halfway. That's his mission right now.
Second and third right there, and there's that leader. DW says is on cruise control.
He really is. That's how good that car is. That's how good Mark is.
Meanwhile, on pit road, a black flag was extended to car number 92, and Larry Pearson had to come in. He's 7th in points, but he's well off the pace today. Hoods up. That doesn't look good for Pearson.
No, it really doesn't. They said they had a valve cover leaking, and it's been smoking sporadically, real bad sometime and not so badly others. So I guess they're trying to fix that now.
There you see the interval, Darrell, between first, back to second and third. And then it's Dale Jarrett in 4th, Chad Little 5th, Phil Parsons 6th, Elton Sawyer 7th. Your brothers in 8th, Bobby HILLIN is 9th, Cope is in 10th, Terry Labonte 11th.
Jimmy Hensley and Sterling Marlin are not too far out of that group either. So we kind of got some 2 and 3 car races going on, but for the most part everything's settled down right now. We've lost a lot of race cars here early on, so I think everybody's just taking care of their cars now.
Got an update on that car 60 leading Mark Martin. Dick Berger.
Well, Darrell Waltrip hit the nail right on the head, Ken Squire, when he said Mark Martin is going to try to stay in the lead. The reason, just before that last pit stop, his temperature, water temperature, was climbing. They were becoming concerned. Reason for the water temperature climbing? Some of the rubber from the racetrack flying back in and hitting the grill and starting to fill it up. They must have memories of Darlington, where in the Cup race he was leading until at the very end the temperature rose so high the motor exploded. He's going to stay out in front, you better believe.
Battle still right here. Nemechek in the 87 trying to check out on McLaughlin. Not a chance.
No, that's a
magic shoes.
Again, Nemechek's on the Hoosier tires, and they're holding up pretty well. Looks like I haven't seen any indication of any problem.
Take a look at Benson here in the 74. Giving it a good ride after all the trouble he's had. He's back in 24th position. And you're on board with Joe Bessey, who is chasing just behind him in 25th. Joe Bessey in that Duralube car. Pride of Scarborough, Maine, Joe Bessey, and they say he's working up a pretty good deal for next year. I had heard a rumor he might drive Craven's car some as Craven moves up to replace Nemechek and Winston Cup for 95.
Joe's one of those guys that seems like if he was financed a little bit better, had a little bit more equipment, he could do a lot better job because he's shown the ability to run up front. This race right here is interesting. There's Nemechek that's moved up to Cup, and he's going to have his own team next year. And Mike McLaughlin, I can't say enough about this guy. Early on in the year, I said he can't drive a Busch car. He's a modified driver. He needs to go back and drive modified. He made me out to be wrong because he has really improved in that race car, and I think that's a team that has Winston Cup aspirations.
A lot of people say the car is a car, even though that's the only open wheel cars that they have. Now, why would you think, because he was a modified guy and came out of those ranks rather than sportsman, that he wouldn't smooth out?
Well, it's the heavier race car that we talk about periodically. Bigger racetracks, these 1.5 and 2 mile super speedways, and it just takes some getting used to, and some guys never make that transition from that 15-inch wide modified tire to this little 12-inch wide super speedway tire at places like Charlotte. Put him in a modified and you can't touch him. But when you come to a speedway like this, it took some getting used to. I didn't know if he could do it or not, but he has done it, and Uncle Mike is coming in the pits. I don't know what his problem is, but here he comes.
Michael Waltrip's number 30, running 8th on the pit road. Randy?
Well, the deal is, Michael came over the radio just a moment ago, said, guys, bad vibration, right front. Let's not take a chance. I believe it's the right front. Let's come in, change 4 if we can under green. Unfortunately for Michael, he's going 1 down right now after running about 7th. Mark Martin goes by. They're on the left-hand side now for the Pennzoil Pontiac. Pretty quick pit stop. They fill it up with Unical fuel as well. They're working on the right rear. Michael down and away, but he's 1 lap down.
On the 69th lap.
Yeah, I would say we haven't run enough prolonged runs here, long enough runs to really get a feel for what the tires were going to do. We have done that now since our last caution. If we're going to have a tire problem, it's going to start to show up.
There he is back on the track, car number 30.
I'll be real curious to see if he did have a tire problem. See, in the back, a lot of drivers' minds, they think they're going to have a tire problem. And so if you pick up a vibration or the car does anything, changes any little bit, the driver gets a little bit nervous and says, I think I got a tire going down, or I think I got a tire going up, I'm coming in the pit.
There you see Nemechek in the 87. He now has 2nd spot to himself. McLaughlin is in 3rd.
We got a car in the wall, turn 3.
Ooh, car 43. Getting it high, bringing out the caution, and that'll be the 2nd caution of the afternoon. This for Rodney Combs of Lost Creek, West Virginia. That'll be the 3rd caution of the day.
And that's about the worst thing that Uncle Mike could have happen to him. He just comes in, gets 4 tires, goes back on the racetrack, and gets a caution, and that just about ruins his day. Not mentioning poor old Rodney Combs laying up there against the wall.
Black flag car stopped on the track and right up on the top of that 24-degree banking. Here's Rodney climbing out. He's out and okay. Take a look here.
He lost that thing right on the straightaway. I'm not sure. That's got to be a tire problem because he was not even to the turn yet and up into the fence he went. So I think he may have had a tire problem. Wouldn't be surprised.
Looks like he's holding his shoulder as he comes back there.
Well, that's about as bad a place as you could have a problem because he's at the end of the straightaway, 180 miles an hour. Lose control, that's a hard lick.
We'll update you on Rodney Combs. There's 72 laps complete as the field is back under caution. 11 cars have retired from this 45-car field that commenced today in this all-pro bumper-to-bumper 300. Coming up toward halfway in this event. That's about 27 laps off. Stay with us here for all the action on TBS.
Back at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Busch Grand National Series on the track as we look down at this beautiful facility from our Advanced Auto Parts aerial platform. Advanced Auto Parts, the home of parts done quickly. We're under caution once again. Rodney Combs, the pride of Lost Creek, West Virginia, getting into the wall here today, and Rodney making his way to the infield care center. Looked to be okay, but holding his shoulder, as we showed you a moment ago. I want to bring you up to date on the upcoming events you'll see here on TBS, NASCAR Winston Cup events. Tomorrow, of course, we bring you coverage of the Mellow Yellow 500 here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 1 o'clock Eastern Time on TBS. Our Sears Craftsman race schedule for 1995 is already in place as well. We'll show you what events we can look forward to when the next racing season rolls off. After tomorrow tomorrow's event, our final event on TBS in this season, 1994. But we start in March up in Richmond, Virginia, the Pontiac Excitement 400, that wonderful Sunday afternoon show. Back here at Charlotte at the end of May, Memorial Day weekend for the Coca-Cola World 600. The Miller Genuine Draft 500 in July at Pocono, Pennsylvania, Pocono International Raceway. We go back to Richmond on Saturday night, September the 9th for the Miller Genuine Draft 400. And then 366 days from tomorrow, the Mellow Yellow 500 back here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, October the 8th. So another full season of NASCAR action coming your way on TBS Sports. We're looking forward to bringing it to you next year. We'll be back to put this one under green in a moment. Consideration have been paid by Winn-Dixie, the low price leader. By Duralube, it makes the difference. And by the Allison Zook Alliance, introducing new ideas into racing.
24 laps to halftime in the first portion of the All-Pro Bumper-to-Bumper 300. 26 cars on the lead lap as the pace car comes in and we get set to go racing.
Well, this is actually, I said it was a bad break for Uncle Mike, my brother, but actually it might turn out to be good. He's got 4 fresh tires. He might be able to get around Mark here since Mark really isn't very wanting to race anybody right now. He might be able to get that lap back, which could turn out to be okay.
Well, let's see what happens out here. To Mark Martin, drawing out to a 10-car length advantage over the yellow car of Michael Waltrip. Uncle Mike, as DW calls him. And on board with Derek Cope a little further back.
He threw the hand up then. He said, hold up, guys. It's a little tight up here. Let's single file it in here, and let's don't run over each other.
Derek Cope, 9th position. Just in front of him.
You know, that's good savvy racing when a driver will do that. Tell the guy behind him what he's going to do. He was going to lift out the throttle, and he didn't want somebody to ram him in the rear. So, you know, that's good savvy racing. I'm glad to see him do that.
Let's get a quick report on the weather here.
Yeah, it is a weather report too, Ken Squire. What's happened is our weather has changed dramatically from the green flag. At that time, we had heavy overcast. Track temperature was about 90 degrees. Well, it's 17 degrees warmer now. We've got full sunshine, and it is changing the way the race cars respond to the Speedway. So much so, in fact, that Mark Martin's crew is out trying to find a set of scuffed tires, which they'd like to put on this race car at the halfway point. Setups aren't for the weather we've got right now.
79 laps are complete, and take a look at the Napa running order here as you ride once again with Derek Cope closing on Hillen. It's a little lower line there.
Yeah, he does. Looks like Bobby's car is pushing up in the turn just a little bit, and Derek's able to get the nose down under him. Derek will get by him if he keeps that up. You know, I think Mark must have a monitor or a headset or something in that car, because he must have heard me say about Uncle Mike. So he's going to try to hold him at bay, I think.
See Chad Little there in 4th spot, the number 23. Right behind him is Jarrett. Parsons next.
I wouldn't count Phil Parsons out either. That car's on Hoosier tires, and he didn't show much steam here in the May race until the second half.
Just consistent, just smooth.
Hanging in there. Hanging in there.
There's second place, which is the 87. And staying in there, hanging in is McLaughlin. Lap car is Michael Waltrip, who had an incredible lap in qualifying the other night.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to psych himself out. He was going so fast. He got on the TV a little earlier, and I thought he was working himself into a spot where he could get in trouble.
Yeah, well, I think he knew he had a good car. And, you know, sometimes when you know your car is that good, you just need to talk about it. Let people kind of give you the confidence, say, yeah, your car's good, you're good, you get the job done. I think he just wanted to talk about it. I don't think he was psyching himself out.
Well, what everybody was really talking about that night, folks, was DW saying, hey, those kids up there, they're really going. Take a look at this battle for 4th as you see 32 Jarrett, and you see the 29 Parsons down on the inside, whipping beneath Chad Little in the 23, and drawing with them Bobby Hillen. 4 or 5 miles an hour faster than they've ever qualified for tomorrow's race, Darrell. Kids like Ward Burton, young John Andretti, your brother, a lot of guys looking very brave out there. Nemechek.
Well, that's not what wins races. Not 500-mile races. That's what wins poles. What wins races is sharp pit crews like mine and Earnhardt's and Rusty Wallace's, and drivers that use their head and not just their foot. Qualifying's a whole different ball game. That's a one-lap race, and we're talking about a 500-mile race.
So you're looking forward to tomorrow from 35th.
I feel excellent. I'm pretty racy.
Hey, take a look at Phil Parsons looking racy, just as Darrell was saying a few moments ago. He's just been out here in the weeds looking things over, and he's beginning to make his move. Parsons jumping up through cars, picking up another spot.
See, the thing about that car, it's on Hoosier tires. It's his car. He's going to drive that car pretty smartly. He's not going to take a chance. He doesn't want anything to happen to it till he gets to halfway anyway. So I think he's doing a good job right now.
Martin leading, and Nemechek and McLaughlin come up next, second and third. Parsons back there 6. You won here last time. How important is it to run good at Charlotte?
This is obviously a big race. It's probably the second biggest race on the circuit, and so we certainly would like to do good and showcase our team and myself and whatnot. But who knows? It's going to be real competitive. It was competitive last time, and we were fortunate enough to win. So we'll see what happens.
See, Ken, all these drivers that are in this series, they're auditioning every week. They are trying to impress Winston Cup car owners. They want car owners that are watching this race in the garage area. They say, that guy could make a Winston Cup driver. That guy could be a winner. And there's so many musical seats out there right now with nobody to fill them. Some of these guys don't want the music to stop and not be setting in one of them. That's what they're thinking on Saturday. They're looking forward to Sunday and what can they do to get in that deal on Sunday.
But Parsons seemed star-crossed, and hopefully he came out from behind that with that race in May. He had the Winston Cup experience. It went away from him. He got dropped out of a couple of teams. He came out here with his own team and just did a remarkable job here, and that's what he's trying to duplicate. Now look at Grissom in 31 as he continues to drive up through this field. Grissom up to 13th from 45th.
And he's dragging a pretty savvy young man along with him. Hermie Sadler, that car's been fast in the past. Hermie's still in this race too, so I wouldn't count him out either.
Nor Benson in the 74, back 15th. Ooh, and all of a sudden, looks to me like Grissom slowed down. The 31, the blue car on the inside. There's a mark on the left side door. I don't know when that came about, but he's running very slowly. After that run, you can see the right side messed up, and left side, I thought, had a bang on it as well.
Ken, I'll just make an observation here. You heard Harry Gant say earlier they pulled a little higher gear to be conservative. The track is so fast. That car ran so quickly through traffic. We see trash on the grill too. That could have some effect on that engine. But he failed an engine. I believe he had a low gear in that car, and I believe that's why he could work traffic the way he could. He pulled a little lower gear. It helped him get through traffic. But once he got the traffic out of the way and he had to run all by himself, he may have over-revved that engine.
That's the 13th car to retire. We're at lap 89. As you watch Dale Jarrett in 4th position and Phil Parsons in 5th. Going around the stricken car of Grissom, trying to make it back onto pit road. 10 laps to halftime here. As Martin stays first, Nemechek second, McLaughlin third, Dale Jarrett fourth, Parsons fifth, and Bobby Hillen looking very stout in that black number 99, the Luxair car just behind him.
Yeah, we've seen Robert Presley give that 99 car. Tells you how old I am. That's his dad. We've seen him give that 99 car some good rides this year, and Hillen's doing a good job in that thing right now.
Grissom right back to the garage. No question that car has terminated its day.
And, you know, Hillen and Phil Parsons are great buddies. They go to church together, and their wives and they're real good friends. And I know they're probably having a real ball right now racing each other.
Derek Cope in that group. Back in 7th. Chad Little's 8th. Ricky Craven is now 9th.
That's a good. Cravens has come up through the field well because he started way back in the back, took a provisional, had a fast car, watched him qualifying. He almost crashed that thing qualifying. That's how come he got so far back in the field. But he's a savvy race car driver.
As Craven lies 9th, Green is in 15th. Dale Jarrett running well in 4th. Winston drivers able to intimidate this Busch gang out there?
Not anymore, no. Those guys have raced here enough to know, and on the other big tracks, that they've learned an awful lot. And no, you can't intimidate them. They're good race drivers, and you know, they've got as good equipment or better than what you have. So they know that they're good, and they enjoy racing you.
That's Dale Jarrett leading that pack of 4.
You know, Bobby Hillen is just worrying the heck out of Phil Parsons here, and I don't know. They're trying to get to halfway. We got 7 laps before halfway. I'd be kind of cooling out if it was me and just trying to get to halfway here, work on the car a little bit, and go at it harder in the second half. I don't know if Hillen and Parsons are trying to get by Dale Jarrett, or they're worried about Cope, or what the deal is, but they're racing awful hard just to get to halfway.
And look at Cope drive down to the bottom and pull up on HILLIN. Derek Cope, the 82.
In doing that, they're allowing Ricky Craven to close right up on him too, so he's going to be in the mix here in just a second.
Yeah, Craven is now having an outstanding day.
Well, he's second in the points, and you know, if anything happens to that 44 car, he could easily move into the lead.
Coming in just 92 points behind Green to Dick Berger.
Steve Grissom had a great run going until that engine blew up, Ken Squire. Steve, how come they're blowing up so many motors today?
I don't know. I tell you, the new surface here at Charlotte Motor Speedway and the Goodyear tires, the cars are gripping so well and pretty much running around the track wide open without lifting. And you know, that's a pretty good while just to stay wide open, not give the motor a chance to breathe.
Well, this guy can sure run them wide open.
That's a factor. I mean, the track is so fast, and these cars will run wide open around this racetrack, and you just can't do that to a 6-cylinder motor. You can't do it to a V8 for as that goes.
There you see Tracy Leslie's number 72, and Resendez leading that pack in the 79 back in 18. Battles back up here. The squabble continues as you see Jarrett, and here comes Cope. Picking up a couple more spots. Derek Cope on the drive.
And Ricky Craven on the bottom there getting under Phil Parsons. And if I was a spotter or if I was a car owner, I'd be on the radio right now reminding my driver that we're going to stop here in just a few more laps, and let's not have any mistakes made here before we get to halfway.
These cars are 6 3/10 seconds down to the leader, Mark Martin, and Nemechek in second. McLaughlin runs third, and this cluster of cars just battles for fourth. And there's Craven.
Yeah, they drug Craven up here, and then back here is Phil Parsons, and not too far behind them comes Terry Labonte and Sterling Marlin. So all this heavy racing that these guys right here are doing are allowing some of these other cars to catch up here before halftime. Yes, folks, this is a race, and we are going to have halftime, and you will have a chance to go get you a bag of popcorn and a hot dog and come back and see the best racing you ever saw in your life in the second half.
We need a marching band.
Oh, yeah, we may have one. This is Charlotte, you know. You never know what Humpy's going to do for a halftime entertainment.
Well, it's a short halftime this time, folks. Just 5 laps under caution. Used to have 15 minutes. Look at this battle continue. You're dead on as they continue this little parlay. There's about 5 other guys that are saying, thank you very much. We'll get ourselves up in here.
Well, what's going to happen is they're going to stop here, and they're all going to get out of their cars and say, man, why were you racing me so hard? I was just trying to get to halftime, and they're all thinking the same thing.
Looks to me like Hill and Parsons were just having the ball racing each other.
I think they are, because, I mean, I've seen Bobby dive in and out from behind the field and try to get up alongside of him. You know, the cars are probably so good and sticking so well, they don't really realize just how close it looks from up here.
Ricky Craven's going to join us tomorrow. He's going to be down in the garage doing some reporting. He had his game face on for the last 3 days. No kidding, no fun with him. He is trying so hard to get back up on top of this point battle.
Well, he's a man on a mission, and
got a caution. And we're at halfway.
Yep.
Yellow flag indicating halfway. 100 laps as this aerial platform shot provided by the good folks at Advance Auto Parts brings us to halfway. PDQ parts delivered quick, and there they are being tethered after the first half of the battle with Mark Martin in front, Nemechek in second. The fun was watching Derek Cope, Hilllin, and Craven and Parsons just having a ball back there in that race for fourth spot with Dale Jarrett. So we're at halfway, and here's how it's going to go. Here's how they say it's going to go, Darrell. They're going to have 5 laps under caution. You can come in and do pretty much anything you want. A little gray about this sort of thing.
Yeah, they always
you can change all the tires, change some other stuff.
Yeah.
Some other stuff you can't change.
Well, what they say is anything that you can do under a normal pit stop. I don't know, maybe they haven't realized just how effective these crews, how efficient these crews are today under a pit stop. We have been able to change a carburetor, track bar, the thing that holds the rear end housing up under the car, sway bars. There's so many things that these crews have learned to do. They've got the cars built to make quick changes. And I don't think NASCAR officials have realized just how much work can get done on one of these cars under a normal pit stop. So they get confused, or they get really, I don't know what happens to them down here. They kind of get the wool pulled over their eyes a little bit when a guy starts doing something in the car and he says, whoa, you can't do that. And then they go into that gray area.
Boy, I'm glad I'm up here and you're down there tomorrow, because if any of those NASCAR officials heard what you just said, you're in for a very long day tomorrow.
Oh, listen, they know. Gary's over there. That's the good thing about Gary Nelson. He's been there. So when you start talking about things like that, he just kind of shakes his head up and down and says, yeah, but it ain't that way no more, Bubba.
Mark Martin is your leader. We're at halfway in the All-Pro bumper-to-bumper 300 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. In second spot remains Joe Nemechek with McLaughlin in third. Then you've got Derek Cope fourth, Bobby Hillin fifth, Ricky Craven sixth, Phil Parsons seventh, Dale Jarrett's in eighth, Chad Little in ninth, and Terry Labonte in 10th, and some of those lead, in fact, all coming in now. 15 cars have already retired from the 45 event. As they come down pit road, you see 60 on the top, Mark Martin and Nemechek, the second place car, and already in, and to a stop is the McLaughlin car.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see anybody trying to beat anybody out here. They've got a few minutes. I think they'll take their time, be sure they do it right, and they're going to talk to the driver, and they're going to decide what needs to be done. If anything, in Mark Martin's case, he's going to clean the window, knock the stuff off the grill, and leave.
And when they go back out, they'll assume the position they were in when they dropped that flag at halfway. So this is not a big deal about charging out there.
No,
Did get a chance to see some of the pit work, though, by three outstanding Grand National teams.
Yeah, these guys that run at the front of this field, they're as good as anybody on Sunday. They just happen to like to race on Saturday. But these cars are pretty much the same, just a little bit difference in the engine configuration. Next year, they'll be almost identical to Winston Cup cars.
Yeah, what will be the difference?
Well, they're going to be heavier, and our cars are maybe going to be lighter.
You going to shed a couple hundred pounds?
I don't know if a couple of hundred, maybe 100 off our cars, bring them up 100. What the concept is, and I think it's a good idea, they want to bring the Cup cars and the Busch cars closer together in specifications, so a guy can get out of a Saturday car, get in a Sunday car, get in a Winston Cup car, and not have to make that great big transition. They want the cars to be very close together so the talent that's in this Saturday race can step up to the Sunday race and not feel like they're at a disadvantage.
All right, got to take a moment right here. Let's go down to the pit center with Rick Benjamin.
Thanks, Ken. Time to check the weekend racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The weekend racing brought to you by Auto Week, America's only enthusiast auto weekly. This week, of course, at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the NASCAR Sportsman Division has been in action. Wednesday night, they had a busy week. We're going to show you some highlights from the Wednesday night show. Off the green flag Wednesday night, a clean start. Wally Fowler led the field. He was the fast qualifier. He's in the white number 4. He was challenged by Gary Layton in car number 74. Big crash in turn number 4. Several cars involved, 7 cars altogether. Once they got back under green, the 35 of Robin Caldwell, the 01 of Schott Howard, David Smith, all in a great battle. And then at the end of the race, it finished under caution. Car number 88, David Owens, sliding to a stop. Wally Fowler, your winner in car number 4. The race finishing Wednesday night under caution here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. This weekend, we're saying goodbye to a legend. The Arrivederci Mario Tour comes to an end. Former IndyCar, former World Driving Champion Mario Andretti wraps up his IndyCar career at Laguna Seca this weekend. Says he's going to be back in endurance racing, maybe even in a NASCAR car. He's a past winner of the Daytona 500. So we'll see how Mario plays the rest of his career. Now, another big race this weekend at Syracuse, New York, the annual Syracuse 300 for the dirt track modified drivers. Here's the way they've qualified for tomorrow's race. Dave Blaney, the World of Outlaws star on the pole, Joe Plazik, Billy Decker, Steve Payne, and Bob McCready. And that is the Auto Week World in Racing. Auto Week has a special offer just for NASCAR fans. Call 1-800-851-2600. Get an entire year for $17.95, the lowest price ever, over $80 off the newsstand price. It ends Monday night. 1-800-851-2600 for a year's worth of Auto Week. We'll be back at Charlotte in just a moment. Back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway under caution. We're halfway through today's Busch Grand National 300-miler here on TBS. Wonderful to have you with us. I'm Rick Benjamin, and we are looking forward to a shootout in the second half of today's event as we check our Winn-Dixie mid-race report today. There have been 6 lead changes so far among 3 drivers. Mark Martin's been the dominant force. Our race average speed a little over 131 miles an hour so far. 3 caution periods worth 18 laps. And so far, 14 cars are officially out of the program here today. Here are some of the drivers who are not in the show at this point. Dale Earnhardt out very early. Todd Bodine and Ernie Irvin's car. Kenny Schrader, Stevie Reeves, Doug Hevron, and David Bonnet involved in a big crash up at turn 3, as was Dirk Stevens and Tim Bender, who started it all. Harry Gant with an engine failure. Bobby Labonte, Ed Barrier, Rodney Combs, and Richard Petty's car, who whacked the wall a while back. Steve Grissom with a motor. He went out. Jason Keller is also out of the show at this point. To show you now who has been out in front so far, Joe Nemechek, who started outside the front row, led the first lap. Then Mark Martin. Nemechek took it back for about 23 laps. Martin again for 9. Elton Sawyer on top for 8 laps, and Mark Martin took over on lap 49. He has led so far to this halfway point. We are still under caution. The 5-lap caution period nearly ready to go green. Lots of activity on pit road. Randy Pemberton, what have you seen?
Wow, I'd like to see some of these changes made under a normal caution flag. Kenny Wallace, 2 rounds of wedge out, 4 tires, changed the right front shock, and knocked the spoiler out a little bit. The Staff America car, the 74 car, they just changed 4 tires, not too much there. Bobby Dotter's been working on his car. They've got a problem in the left front. They can't figure that out. As far as David Green, who has been running 17th, they just moved the track bar a ½ inch, changed all 4 tires, and some air pressure changed in the rear tires of that car. And as far as Ricky Craven goes, looked like 4 tires, and that's about it. Dick Berger, what happened up that way?
Well, up here, Randy, it's a good thing we're near Halloween, because I'm going to tell you what, it was just plain bizarre spooky. We're so used to watching these guys come in and trying 18-second pit stops to do their service. Here they had 5 laps to do it. So the crews were just sort of going around the car doing their work. At Mark Martin's car, they put on 4 scuffed tires. They didn't change a thing. Steve Meal says the car is absolutely perfect. They're going to try to run it all the way to the end without doing any more changing. Joe Nemechek's car is just a little bit loose going into the corner. They didn't change any wedge in the car, but they changed the air pressure ever so slightly. And over at Ricky Craven's car, they spent most of their time worrying about the radiator. They are very aware of how many engines blow up here at Charlotte in this race. They want to finish this thing. They're running second in points, so they had a water hose on the radiator for much of their pit stop, and that's what they were more interested in than adjusting the car.
That's Joe Bessey getting ready to go back to work. He's riding in 20th position. We're getting set on a restart. The 5-lap caution period were non-counting laps. Those were technical non-counting laps. As they come down, the board will show 103 laps complete. A lap to get it down, and officially a lap to get it back up to speed. And Mark Martin from the point, breaking out in front, but trying to get around him. Michael WALTRIP trying to take that lap back.
Well, I think Michael on that break had a chance to find out what that vibration was. If it wasn't a tire, maybe they fixed whatever it was. He may be able to run a little bit harder now. So we'll see what happens here.
Well, as he runs side by side with Nemechek, deployed in third, roosting on that rear bumper of number 60. Advantage for those others to collect the front of the field.
Yeah, we'll get bunched up here for a few laps. We'll have that exciting restart like we had at the beginning of the race, but I think guys will be a little bit more cautious. It's thinned out a little bit more than it was at the beginning.
Michael Waltrip around and back in the lead lap with Mark Martin in first. Down the backstretch, you see Derek Cope pulling along for second. Nemechek to third. Down on the bottom, the 99 car, Bobby Hillen, that black number 99, making its move to try to get back up and search for the lead.
The 59 car's off the pace down here, coming off turn 4, but see what happens on those deals there. Mark put on scuffed tires, and it may take those tires a lap or two to get the heat built up in them. Michael may have put on brand new tires, and they're going to come in just right away. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Dennis Setzer back there in 19th spot. We still have 26 cars in the lead lap. Hood's up. Looks like it swallowed his cylinder.
Yeah,
he had been smoking
it's
some.
Smoking on pit lane here. So
pass for second. And there's Nemechek right back at it again.
You know, Ken, sometime when you got time to work on the car, to make changes to it, you do all the wrong things and really get the car off. Whereas if it was a normal pit stop, you couldn't do all that. So Nemechek's car looks quick. He's coming up there, and Mark looks like his tires are starting to build. He probably had low air pressure. They're coming back, and he'll chase Michael back down there in a second. Everything looks like it's staying about the same.
Well, you saw McLaughlin checking out there, and Hillen, Little, all getting around Derek Cope in the Allison car, number 82. He falls back a bit. Martin and Nemechek up in front, and Derek Cope sliding back.
Well, I know Michael would like to see a debris caution right now. That'd help him get back in the race, and obviously his car is quick enough to lead this thing.
Taking a look at lap leaders. Pretty much dominated. Martin's performance this year, just incredible. You know, he hasn't run all the races. What, only 14 of them? And yet he leads in the number of laps led. He's led to 909 laps in 13 races going into today in 94. Kenny Wallace is second. He's run all the races, and he's led only 784. Quite a statement about that car that Mark Martin's driving and leading with at the present time.
Yeah, he's had a great year in that car, and he will have a few more races before the year's over with to add on to that total.
Take a look at the running order now. Look at, as you look at this, as of 107, we're at 109. Benson has just slipped up a couple of spots into ninth. Johnny Benson, that Staff America car, his backup car, after he lost the car they had prepared for the race.
I tell you a guy that you got to keep your eye on, Ken. I know I say it time and time again, but Terry Labonte,
white number 14.
White number 14. Just keep him in mind, because before this day is over with, they will have to deal with him.
Here's Dick Berger.
Well, Dennis Setzer, whose wounded car was part of the open for this broadcast, is working on pit road, and it's more than just a valve cover. Unfortunately for him, they have lost a rocker arm. They've got the valve cover off. They're trying to change that rocker arm, get him fixed, get him back out. He's 5 laps down already, though, Ken.
And would be the 16th car to retire if they don't get it back on the track.
See, that's just from excessive RPM, valve train problems. That's from running the car wide open through the corner or thereabouts, and a lot of gear.
Resendez in the 79, running in 16th spot. Now back up front. The car that had been lapped, Michael Waltrip just in front of the leaders with Martin first, Nemechek right there in second spot, McLaughlin and Hillen.
I noticed on Micah's car, he's picked up some debris on his grill too, so he'll have to be watching the old temperature gauge.
And in the point battle, Craven now in 6th. David Green from Owensboro, Kentucky, back to 18th. If the race were to end now, Craven would just about have that lead that Green has in the standing with 2 races left to go after today. October 16th, Martinsville, and October 22nd, Rockingham. Mark Martin, do you think some of the drivers are apprehensive about these higher speeds?
None of us are scared of going fast at all. You know, what I'm scared of is not having any control over that speed. When tires blow out, we have no control over that speed at all. And if we're going to have to deal with blowing out tires, then maybe, you know, maybe we are going too fast.
Well, that's what we were talking about. There's so many unknowns, particularly if you just took the tires the way they were a couple of years ago when you resurfaced the racetrack. That is an ingredient that you don't like to deal with. And you add a tire war on top of that, and it puts the fear of God in these drivers, I'm telling you. Well, Michael, he kind of backed up. I think Mark's tires, they just had to build the air pressure on them a little bit, and he's on his way back to the lead again.
Going further back in the field as you watch the 44 car. That's the car of the point leader. That's Green, and right behind him is Bessey. That's well back. David Green is in 19th, and Joe Bessey is in 20th. It gave you that onboard shot.
It's such an you would think having a big point lead would be the thing that you would want. It'd be the thing that you'd want to go in these last few races with. But it is so nerve-wracking to not, you don't want to beat yourself. And that's what these drivers fight out there on the racetrack. How hard do I push it? Do I go out here and race hard and take a chance on something happening? People are going to say I'm a dumb driver. They're going to say, why didn't you protect that point lead? So you really are in a dilemma the last few races of the year.
As we watch Bessey here working that DARRELL car, Darrell, give us some thoughts about getting control and using the line on these banks at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Well, you see the button on the steering wheel right there. See how far he has to turn that steering wheel? That is a lot of, that's a long way to turn that steering wheel. That means that car is really tight. It's really abusing that right front tire. He's got that thing turned way around there at about, I don't know, 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, looks like, and he's really abusing that right front tire. He almost has to get another handful to make the turn. And that's not good for the tires.
So the battle continues, and we watch Tracy Leslie come on to pit road with 116 laps complete. Mark Martin continues to dominate the All-Pro Bumper-to-Bumper 300.
In consideration have been paid by Auto Week, America's only enthusiast weekly.
Just under caution at 120 laps. Point leader David Green and Dave Resendez crashing in turn 4. Trying to get his lap back was Michael Waltrip as he came all the way around, but ran out of time on that one. There's the Resendez car, which has done a 360, and take a look at the end of his day. Darrell?
Well, I was just questioning Larry Pearson. He's been in the pits. Why was he up in there racing those guys like he was? And he started all this, and it's too bad because poor old David Green had nowhere to go. I was just watching that little battle there because Sterling and Cope are having a pretty good go of it, and Larry shows up in the middle of that crowd, and I was kind of wondering why he would be racing those guys so hard.
Take another look.
Well, he got sideways in the going in, and the 63 bumped him once the 92 got sideways. Down on the bottom like that, pulled air off of him and pulled air off his spool and just turned him around.
Backed him up from the leaders, and here's David Green, #1 in points, the point leader, as they get ready for their final 2 races, October 16th in Martinsville, October 22nd at Rockingham, and Craven has a chance to really gather in some points. He had picked up 40 last time we checked. Let's see how bad this is for car number 44, Owensboro, Kentucky's David Green. Ever do any racing with him, or was he so much younger than you?
A lot younger than me. I raced his dad. But he's not in too bad a shape. It's cosmetic, I think.
Take a look at the point battle as they went into today, and that 92-point separation between the Green and Craven team really getting chopped up. Big break for Chad Little, too. Here's Randy.
Well, I would definitely call it more than cosmetic, Darrell. He's definitely going to have an aerodynamic disadvantage here the rest of the way, no question about it. And he was running such a smooth race, just hanging back there about 17th, trying to stay 5 or 6 car lengths behind, chasing that championship. Boy, tremendous right front damage. They're going to open the grill area on the 44 car. That's the best they can do. And of course, they'll come back in after they strip this away, try not to go another lap down or a lap down, and they'll be back in. They're just going to strip away as much as possible. Unbelievable here. They've got Bob Labonte in this pit, Chris Hussey, who is the crew chief for Bobby Labonte and Winston Cup, as well as the crew chief for the 44 car. They're all down here trying to coach him to a championship.
Yeah, when I said cosmetic, what I meant was he's not out of the race. There's no fluids running out of the car, and the right front tire is still attached. So he does have damage.
He sure does, and we'll get another report on that shortly as to the condition of David Green's car. Randy Pemberton is down there now, and he'll update you on that in just a moment. 123 complete. Continuing to develop down here. Michael Waltrip's just come back on pit road another time. Continue to work on the Pennzoil car number 30. Resendez is back in, but the big stories are on pit road. Let's get a check on the McLaughlin car and other stories down there. First from Dick Berger.
And it's a big story with the McLaughlin car, Ken. That car started 8th. He's worked it all the way up to 3rd spot. Clyde McLeod. What can you do with those 2 Winston Cup guys in front of you?
They're pretty tough. Mark and Joe both. I mean, they got good cars. Goodyear's got a good tire. Hoosier's got a good tire. Cars are pretty equal. They're tough customers, but the old Fiddle Faddle High 2 all U.S. Chevrolet, she's just running all she got right now.
McLaughlin has never won one of these things. He is highly motivated. Randy Pemberton.
Well, David Green back in. It is strictly sheet metal damage as we see it right now. The only thing that could be possibly out of place, the toe-in could be knocked out just a little. And Darrell, I certainly wasn't trying to insinuate that you didn't know that it was just sheet metal damage, but there could possibly be a toe-in problem on his car.
Yeah, well, there could possibly be. I'll go along with that. No, what I was saying was I may have overstated this a little bit. I just was glad he wasn't knocked out of the race, because that was a pretty hard lick, but it looked like he was going to be able to continue.
We're back under green at lap 125. Mark Martin in the lead. Nemechek is in second. Waltrip's in the booth. Tomorrow he starts 35th out here in the 500. Hope you'll be with us on TBS. How long does it take you to get over a 500-mile race?
Oh, it used to take, the afternoon. Now it takes a couple of days. Got the 99 car way up out of the groove, like something wrong with it.
Yeah, Hillen backed up dramatically, going into 3, all the way to the rear. Bobby Hillen in 99 through there you see it. And he had such a good run going today. That puts us up to about 17 if that car says sayonara. Luxair, number 99 for Hillen, appears to be in trouble. Lead battle. Martin in the 60. Nemechek. And Mike McLaughlin, former modified champion of NASCAR. What a smooth job he's doing. Phil Parsons, who won this race in May, stays right in, holds on to 4th. Once again, Parsons, just as he did before. We got another motor blowing down turn 2.
That's the 72 car. He was ailing anyway, so that did him in.
Tracy Leslie. 22 cars in the lead lap. Tracy Leslie came in here 10th in points, hoping for a good finish in that Detroit gasket car for the Michigan campaigner. Looks like it's over for him at 128, keeping track.
I tell you what, nothing's changed much at the front, though. We got us a heck of a race going on here. Nemechek is closed right up on the back of Mark.
4 cars in that group. Now take a look at Terry Labonte back here. Sterling Marlin, Hermie Sadler in that group. Now let's go back to second.
In the lead. The lead.
Leaders in the wall. Second and third. McLaughlin spinning.
Holy cow.
I got to tell you, the spotters should get the Emmy for that one.
What a deal.
What a save for Nemechek in the 87, and McLaughlin up in 4. Everybody able to take evasive action, and nobody collected. Nemechek fires.
That's a shame, because what happened was McLaughlin got down underneath the Nemechek. I think we'll see it on the replay. I don't think Nemechek's real happy with McLaughlin right now, as a matter of fact.
And I think the back end is bent a bit on that Nemechek car. We'll take a look in a moment.
He gets down under him, and this is one of those old suck the air off my spoiler deals, and he does, but he also gets into the side of the 87 car. Phil Parsons did an incredible job. Some of the other guys have come along here do. And how these fellas missed them when they start down the racetrack, I do not know. But again, like we said, the spotters did an excellent job.
Here's another look, Darrell.
The back end comes out on the 34. Here it comes. Here it comes. Uh-oh. And he's into the 87, and there he goes.
Did he get into him, or was there space?
Yeah, no, he just brushes him, but it doesn't take anything right at that point in the turn to turn the other car around. Normally, the outside car could get away, but he was close enough and far enough up beside of him that he did get into him.
Pit road closed. Oil up there. I want to get that cleaned up. Boy, everybody making some great moves.
Really did. Hermie Sadler almost got into Sterling Marlin there. Everybody almost got into somebody, but they all made it through there. That was a great job of driving on everybody's part.
Nemechek out. He's okay. This happened on 128. And here comes Mike McLaughlin back into the garage area. Bad break for him. 130 complete at Charlotte. And the complexion changes again. Martin first, Parsons second.
And we're back here at Charlotte, and we're going to take another look at this incident up here in turns 3 and 4 between Nemechek and McLaughlin. And I think we got a couple of views here. Here's what we saw on camera here a while ago, and the 34 car gets the back end sucked around, and he almost misses 87, but he catches him right at the tail, at the beginning of the spin there, takes them both into the wall. And now we get another look at it.
Onboard camera
here from Mark Martin's car, and you can see the 34 when he gets into the 87 right there. That's what turned the 87 car around. Normally that inside car will not hit that outside car, but the back end came around so quickly on the 34 that he did get into the 87. And I think Randy's got Joe down there. We'll get his version of what happened.
Well, we've got him here. He's definitely ticked off. Joe Nemechek, man, you killed the car. What happened out there?
Well, I'm going to chalk that up one to Mike McLaughlin. You know, he was making a move, and I'm gonna make it say it's a rookie mistake on his part. You know, he made a move to the inside, which is fine, but his car didn't stick, and it come up and hit me, and I was up giving him all the room I could. And you know, we're going so fast here at Charlotte. You can't touch anybody. Everything's got to be perfect, and once you touch somebody, things are going to happen. But he didn't make his car stick on the bottom, and it's a shame. The Cintas Chevrolet, I thought we were the only ones that had something for Mark. We were just cruising out there, doing just what we were supposed to do to that last 50 laps, but evidently he wanted to win the race too soon.
Okay, better luck tomorrow. Dick Berggren?
Yeah, Mike McLaughlin, what happened?
Well, I made a mistake. I had a run on Joe. I went in at 3, went in easy so that wouldn't happen, and picked up the throttle and tail broke loose. My mistake. Phil High Tool Chevrolet was running good, and the crew did a good job, but I just feel bad for everybody that I messed up.
Well, maybe a little short, but it takes a tall man to admit a mistake.
You know, that sounds like Todd Bodine here in '92. That happened with Todd, and he said, I flat made a mistake.
Well,
I like that.
That turn right there, it's just a sucker turn. You can get down on the bottom like that underneath someone, but it won't stay. And it happens time and time again.
133 laps are complete of 200 to be run today in the All-Pro bumper-to-bumper 300 Grand National Race at Charlotte. Ready to go racing at the beautiful Charlotte Motor Speedway. Gigantic crowd out on Saturday. in the prologue to tomorrow's running of the Mellow Yellow 500, which you'll see here on TBS. As they come back to the line, Mark Martin will be in front, Benson second, Phil Parsons will be third, and Ricky Craven will be in fourth. Now Craven would pick up 54 points to reduce the deficit to just 38. The Craven fourth, Green 19th on the field. WALTRIP making that move to get up there and try to take that lap back.
Boy, he just barely, he's about one of the few cars a lap down, and he barely got up there by the time the green flag came out. Johnny Benson just, gosh, he was running second, and what happened?
10th. Fell all the way back. Benson getting caught up. And the 2 car looks like it's hitched to something out there that isn't moving too quickly.
Well, these 6-cylinder motors don't always come right up to speed, particularly if you get bogged down in the restart. Maybe they had a problem getting gears.
But I mean gear, back end gear?
No, just transmit. The engines are real slow to respond sometimes, and if you happen to have to get out of the gas because somebody in front of you didn't go when they're supposed to, the other guys can really get a big jump on you.
Well, Michael Waltrip's made up the lap another time. There's the 30 breaking out in front of Mark Martin, your leader. And look at Chad Little making a dive to the inside. Car number 23. Chad Little on his way.
You'll see Chad got past the car on the outside of him going into corner. And I was watching to see if that back end was going to come around on that 23 car, but he held it down and got past the car. They didn't go side by side.
Elton Sawyer's 38 right there, mixing up the white car, red numeral. Number 38, that's Elton Sawyer. Phil Parsons right behind him. The big move, Chad Little looking for that first Grand National win, closes in on Mark Martin. Michael Waltrip, the yellow Penzo car, has made up his lap. Can he stay there? Doesn't look like it as they come out of 4 and back through the tri-oval to complete lap 138.
Well, Michael's car is it's just not up to the holding Mark off, and Mark wants to keep Michael a lap down because this is one less car he has to contend with.
Look at Phil Parsons to 3rd, drops Elton Sawyer to 4th.
Uh-oh, here we go. Whoa. Mark closed the door on Chad there because he did not want Chad to get under him going down the back straightaway there.
Chad Little looks like he's got a lot of stuff in that car 23 today. Almost
really
had the stuff and knocked out of it right there.
Yeah, he almost did a little too much shopping that time back. Well, what that is, I just realized that's the Winn-Dixie car racing the Harris Teeter car. Might be a little rivalry there.
Home delivery.
And the Ford credit, you know, there's a bunch of, I just realized something else too, Ken. There's a bunch of Fords at the front of this race right now.
Yeah, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Phil Parsons Chevrolet trying to break it up out there.
And Uncle Mike, I mean, he is just driving the wheels off that old Pennzoil Pontiac, trying to keep Mark behind him and having some success at it.
Back under him again, staying there. Screaming on the radio, telling there's debris in turn 2.
Oh, yeah. And if they'll just wait a minute and I get a hold of something, there will be debris in turn 2.
Mark Martin, number 61st. Chad Little 2nd. Elton Sawyer in 3rd. Michael Waltrip having to fight to make up a lap. He's made it up a couple of times, and each time Martin is right there in that squabble. Takes it away from him again.
Mark gets off of turn 4 real nice down low and gets under Michael, but Michael's got a high line to 1 and 2 here, and he's able to hang right along beside of Mark. That makes Mark's car real uncomfortable. That's that sucking air off the back of that spoiler going through that corner that you don't want to feel.
2-car Craven has backed up to 12th, while David Green, the point leader, is back in 21st. We need to get a report on that number 2 Craven car. So what's going on there?
You see what Mark did in? He couldn't get into the turn on the inside of Michael. He had to back out of the gas, and that backed everybody behind him up. Everybody had to lift a little bit, and Chad Little just about run in the back of Mark.
Take a look at Phil Parsons on the outside of number 23, Chad Little. Lost him there. He looked like he had him in turn 1.
It was this race in May when Phil Parsons, you heard very little of him in the first 100 miles, but the second 100 laps of this race, he came to the front and drove off and left him, and I'm still thinking he can do that.
Said it was the most important win of his career. And here's Parsons right back in it again in the 29. Looks to the inside of Little as they move down across the start-finish line, completing 142 laps. And Terry Labonte, the white number 14, that Darrell was talking about earlier, is really beginning to account for himself. He's intending to be around for the checkers. Here's Rick Benjamin.
We're joined in the Pit Communications Center, Ken, by Kenny Schrader, who was out early in his AC Delco Chevrolet today. Can you believe this racing, Ken?
Oh, I'll tell you what, attrition just really coming into play here today. But right now, I mean, just anyone in that blanket, like Darrell says, I'd really have to watch for Terry, because Terry's not going to show what he's got until it's really time.
You think Chad Little's got something for Mark Martin the way it looks?
Well, one thing about Chad, whatever he's got, we're going to see it as soon as he can show it.
What put you out earlier today?
Driver failure. I was flirting with disaster, and I finally let it get away from me.
Do you like the new surface here at Charlotte?
Oh, they did a good job, Martin. You know, and the tires are real good. We just got run around top, and the car was a little bit loose, and I kept moving up a little higher and higher, and all of a sudden I didn't have room to catch it.
Is it patience that's the key here when you're 3 wide like this?
Well, I think it's just timely moves there. I mean, Terry just made a real good move there, but Terry knows this thing's 200 laps, and you know, he's had a real good year with that MW car, and he'll come on here at the end.
He's working his way back toward the front, Ken Squire. Meantime, we've got some great action here with Chad Little leading a bunch of cars.
And patience is not the word right now, Darrell. Holy smokes.
This is like a last lap shootout. They're changing positions here quicker than they change money in Las Vegas. I'm telling you, this is a heck of a deal.
Here's Michael Waltrip still trying to stay in that lead lap, and Mark Martin trying to get the cork in the bottle on that number 30 and keep him a lap down.
Michael makes Mark's car get loose. When Mark gets under Michael, Michael sucks him around just a little bit, and he has to come up out of the throttle, and I think that's Mark's problem right now.
Great shot as you watch Chad Little try to duck under the 14 of Terry Labonte. That really gives you the look of those leaders, and there goes Chad Little back in there again. And one of the things this 30 is doing as Martin tries to keep him controlled and a lap down is it's forcing him to run real hard. Look at this battle. It's allowed those other guys to collect that leader, and we've got a 6-7 car battle up in front.
All right, right here is where some guys get in trouble. You know, the back end comes out, and there's Terry right on the outside of Mark. And Mark, I think Mark gets sucked around just a little bit there, but he's a good enough driver. He doesn't let it show.
But Terry Labonte, he did get sucked around a little, and as he got pulled there, gosh, saw Labonte make the move.
Who's leading this race? That guy in that white car. Where'd he come from?
He is smooth, isn't he?
Oh, he's really good. He's a lot better than I ever gave him credit for. He's a fantastic driver.
Terry Labonte, and just behind them, you see the rest of the scrimmage. Martin fading back for the first time. Wonder if he used up some rubber out there.
Yeah, I think Michael really used him up. I mean, I think Michael pulled him around there on the outside the way he was and made Mark really wiggle his car a lot and get his tires hot. So I think Mark's going to fall back here a little bit and regroup.
Well, there's a story right there. You saw the 44 car getting lapped another time. Green in trouble, going down two. Point leader in the Grand National standings with 2 races to go after today. Getting swallowed up for a second time by those front runners. Terry Labonte, Texas Terry, stays out in front, and Johnny Benson has come to second place.
And he fell back on that restart. I got to believe something happened, missed a gear or whatever on that restart.
Now, this is what you were talking about a moment ago, about the 60 getting used up by that number 30.
Yeah, Michael's on the outside, and we've seen that happen a time or two where the inside car, he just gets it back in, pulled around him. You can see it hung out just a little bit. It'll use up a right rear tire, and when it does, you've got to back up.
Here's Dick Bergman.
Well, Darrell, the guy who can answer your question as to what happened to Johnny Benson on the restart is his crew chief, Steve Bird. And Steve, what did happen?
Third gear, went to get a hot dog. You know, that's all. He missed he got the shift, but third gear wasn't there. He just said third gear blew us something, you know. It hurt us a little bit. We're running pretty good here. I don't know what happened to Mark. He slowed down, but hey, we got a good shot at it. We brought this backup car out, and we got wrecked here, and it's got the old nose and old tail, and it's running pretty good here. And we got a hell of a driver.
But the next pit stop will be a problem for sure.
151. And why would the next pit stop be a problem? That third gear is the issue for car number 74, Johnny Benson.
But I want to tell you something. The man, Steve Bird, is smart.
Did you see Chad Little riding the bumper? Oh, little kiss there.
I give Steve Bird a lot of credit. He knows he has a very, very talented young driver in that race car. That man is going to be heard from in this sport.
Mr. Baumgartner's car that has come to victory, had a great run last week at Dover. Take a look at this little bit of activity. Boy, there's the throwback to the old days of Myrtle Beach.
Oh, what that is bump drafting. He wanted that that 38 to get around that 60, so we just give him a little help. That's called bump drafting. That's what these kids call it anyway. I call it trying to wreck the guy in front of you. They call it bump drafting.
Were you a bump drafter when you were a kid?
I was, but I didn't know what it meant.
Terry Labonte knows what it means to get up in front and lead, and that's what he's doing right now with Benson in second, and he is not getting caught up in anything. He's willing to let Michael Waltrip run by his lonesome just in front of him there at the present time.
Boy, the 20 car just brushed the wall off of turn 4 there, and I don't know what happened, but I saw the dust fly from the 20 car.
Jimmy Hensley?
Jimmy Hensley. And he was running good, too.
There you see the Craven car, number 2. Remember, he's had his hands full and fallen back to 12th. He was up there as a contender for the lead for a while. First to 7th is 1 1/10 of a second. We've got a great race here today.
Yeah, and I don't think Mark had to back up, kind of catch his breath and regroup. I think he'll get himself back up here in contention before this thing's over with.
Paint looking a little different on number 20. Here's Randy.
Well, to update you on Ricky Craven, first of all, they changed right sides the last time they pitted. They put a full load of fuel in, went back out, and he said, guys, Titus, it's been all day. Unfortunately, right after that, they lost radio communication. He started backing up, so they didn't know what was going on with him. Now they think the car is coming back to him. As far as Mark Martin goes, the car is all right. Traffic has slowed him down a little bit. He is wide open all the way around this track, every chance he gets.
There's Craven trying to move in on the bottom, and just up in front, Sterling Marlin in the 4 in 8th place, and Hermie Sadler. Fine job being done as the 63 Jim Bown scoots a little high, and Craven is picking up some spots. I think that gives him 10th now.
He fell back a lot like Johnny Benson did on that
Back to
restart,
12th.
and Benson was able to overcome it, and so far Ricky hadn't been able to. But I want to say something about Mark Martin. He ain't never run that Ford wide open, so I don't know if that's true or not.
Back up in front. Labonte is first in 14, then the 74. Benson is in second. Mark Martin has come back up to 4th. He's just behind the 23 of Chad Little here. And guess who's joined the party? Derek Cope, number 82, is in this game another time.
That car, Chad Little and Derek Cope have been in the hunt all day long. They've been factors, or they've been near the front all day long, and those two cars are running extremely well.
And Phil Parsons is just behind them in 6th.
I think Phil got into some of that traffic deal there where he got moved around a bit more than he wanted to, and he had to back up and kind of regroup.
The 23 car is 3rd.
I tell you, Uncle Mike is just ahead of the leaders here, and he's just kind of walking off the lead.
158 laps are complete. Charlotte Motor Speedway in the All-Pro Bumper-to-Bumper 300. Terry Labonte has the lead. Benson 2nd. Chad Little 3rd. Martin 4th. Cope 5th. And Phil Parsons 6th. We're back with you, and take a look at this scramble. 2nd place at stake. Johnny Benson on the outside. Spokane, Washington's Chad Little on the bottom, just in front of them. Number 14 is the leader. Now Mark Martin, who has dominated the race, back there in 4th spot. He's mixing it up. He's coming around Little on the outside. Well, this in turns 1 and 2.
What the deal is there is if you get on that bottom and you don't make the pass, the cars on the outside are just carrying more speed through the corner. I think the bottom groove is kind of giving up a little bit, and they're moving up the track a little bit to get some new asphalt. Mark hadn't run good on the outside at all. He's been right around the bottom all day long, but I see him trying to look around and find him a better place to run too.
Running just about 180, 85 miles an hour down into those corners, tight together. And we still have 16 cars in the lead lap. As we look down on the end of this one, 36 laps to go.
It'd be nice to talk about what's going on in the back of the field, but folks, there ain't no back of the field. This is pretty much it.
Mark Martin the 2nd. The number 60. The Winn-Dixie Ford. Slides to the outside, and here comes Derek Cope in number 82 on the bottom. Beneath Johnny Benson. Along comes Little. What a great race. And folks, tomorrow, it's the stars of the Winston Cup. Darrell Waltrip's going to give up the booth. Go back in the cockpit, start 35th. Right behind him, Earnhardt will start 38th. And some youngsters up in front to give you the show of shows in the Mellow Yellow 500. Right here. Oh!
I was afraid of that.
Benson in the wall.
Yeah, that wouldn't. It wasn't Chad Little's. It wasn't Chad's fault. That 74 car's been getting higher and higher and higher, and Chad ran him out of room, but I don't think I'd have been there if I'd have been Benson.
Johnny Benson narrows up car number 74. Had been running right up in second spot. Now begins to slide back. Labonte stays first. Martin in second. Derek Cope third. Chad Little fourth. Parsons fifth. Benson back to sixth.
Benson will have to bring that car in the pit before long because he did a lot of damage to the right side, and there's no smoke, but that thing could blow a tire anytime.
And we should see that stop for fuel at any moment. We'll take on a couple of tires. So still, Terry Labonte stays out in front. Only win at Charlotte came here in 1985 in a car that was owned by a guy named Waltrip, as we take a look at that.
Yeah, I was in 85. I was running Bill for the championship, and I didn't want to run this race. I wanted to save everything I had for Sunday, and so I got Terry to drive it for me, and lo and behold, we didn't win the race.
He looks like he's about ready to try that trick again.
Yeah. I've been a fan of his ever since, really. That's a neat family. Bobby's a neat kid, and Terry, and of course her dad works on the cars, and they're a neat bunch of people.
MW Windows Chevrolet out there leading this event. Bob Labonte, the crew chief for it. Terry, the owner driver for this car.
He lost an engine in practice there. I don't know, yesterday, I guess it was, or maybe it was Thursday, I can't remember. But anyway, lost an engine. He put a fresh one in, and it looks like it's really performing well.
Terry Labonte trying for his third Grand National win of the year. Mark Martin trying to take it away right there. That number 60 gets a handle on the bottom of the racetrack and closes in for the lead and almost touched him.
That's a battle of tires. Mark's got a great handling car, and it's pretty easy on tires. And, you know, maybe some of these other guys have run their tires off a little bit more than Mark has.
On board with Mark Martin.
Terry, look at Terry. He saw what Michael did. He got Terry down on, or got Mark down on the inside. And watch what he does to Mark. He says, you like it down there? Well, stick your nose up here and see how you like that.
Trying to scrub him off again, and Martin stays right there.
Terry's going to try to loosen him up by staying on the outside of him, but I don't know. Mark's got a pretty good run on him. Terry, see that outside line really gets him to that center of that corner fast.
Mark Martin, who qualified, turned an average speed lap at 176.6. Fighting, and this is a couple of masters.
Mark cannot run that bottom line underneath somebody. It loosens him up too much, and what he's going to do is fool around under Terry, and here comes Cope and Little and Phil Parsons. He better be looking in that mirror as well as where he's going.
Parsons right in behind Chad Little. Chad Little fourth, Parsons fifth, Elton Sawyer sixth, Jim Bown seventh, Benson back to eighth, Sterling Marlin ninth, Craven 10th. So here's your leader, Terry Labonte, allowing that number 60 to use up the inside.
Yeah, he's giving up that inside. Mark will get back up there and try him again. And if Mark can ever get up enough steam to pass him, clearly getting into a turn, Mark can get in front of him and he would drive off and leave him. But he doesn't. His car's not right for getting alongside of somebody.
And again, there's the bunged up David Green, car number 44. The point leader in trouble going down still another lap. Labonte, Martin, Cope, Little will be back to decide this one after these messages. Coming up shortly, the NASCAR Showcase. Great stuff with Jeff Gordon. Coming up shortly, the finish of this All-Pro bumper-to-bumper 300, 178 of 200 down. And take a look at this struggle up in front. Terry Labonte's Chevy is leading Mark Martin's Ford by just that much going into the back straightaway, with Derek Cope in third, Chad Little fourth, Phil Parsons fifth, Elton Sawyer in sixth. Dick Berggren can update us on pit road about these leaders.
Well, the question is, Ken, how can they make it to the end? Are they going to have to stop for fuel or not? And I talked to Chad Little's crew. They said, oh, no problem. We're going to make it all the way. We don't need another pit stop. Then he came down and I talked to Bob Labonte. He's crew chief for Terry Labonte, your leader. And I said, how about it? And he said, one-lap window. They've got a one-lap margin of error, and that is all. Randy Pemberton, what does it look like down you?
Well, I talked to Bobby Leslie, crew chief for Mark Martin. He waved it off, said no problem whatsoever. We're going all the way. Shouldn't be a problem.
Here's Martin back up under again. And he's got some steam that time, Darrell.
Yeah, he's got a nose out front. Now, if he can hold it or not, that's the question. Oh, there goes Terry right back by him. And what's going to happen to Mark is if he doesn't make that pass, he's going to get a lot of company in the form of Chad Little and Derek Cope and Phil Parsons. So Mark is struggling.
What do you mean he's going to get company? He has company.
They're coming in.
Here's 32 coming on. That's your 16th place car, Dale Jarrett and his Chevy.
Uh-oh, Mark tried the outside that time.
Ooh, and Cope came in.
Yeah. Mark said, let me try that outside one time. Maybe I can run that lane.
Chad Little back and forth looks him over, as does Phil Parsons. 5 cars in that front cluster.
Well, it's showtime. I'm telling you, there's only 19 laps to go, and everybody's going to start dicing around. I think what's going to happen is Mark and Terry are going to shoot it out because these other 3 are going to get in a battle of their own, and Mark and Terry's going to get away from them, and they're going to have a 2-car race. 3rd
place, Little down to the inside. He's trying to get his car to work on the bottom beneath Derek Cope. Okay, drafting anything here?
Oh, yeah, especially when there's 2 cars like Mark and Terry, and then these other 3 guys get side by side. They will drive off and leave them in a heartbeat.
So Chad Little trying to make his move, and Derek Cope doesn't want to give that spot up. But he needs to get back in single file if they want to try to overwhelm those 2 leaders.
Yeah. Mark Martin gets to 3 and 4 really good on the bottom. He really gets a lot of momentum off of turn 4, but he can't seem to make the pass.
17 laps to go, and they come by this time.
That's 5 race cars right there that are, all of them are real close. Terry's and Mark's and Derek's and Phil's and Chad's, they're real closely matched, but it's going to come down to just position, I think.
6 cautions for 31 laps, bring the average speed down to 126. And so Sammy Yard's mark from 1983 of 141 is not going to be challenged today. The challenge is all here on the racetrack as Texas Terry Labonte fights it out. Chevy versus Ford at the end of this 300.
Well, this is what it's all about. This is what the people come to see. Chevrolet versus Ford, Hoosier versus Goodyear. It's just a great day, and Hermie Sadler just got to stop and go for something. I'm not sure what.
Goodyear 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and Hoosier back and 4th. Let's get the story from Randy on the Sadler.
He had a flat left front, came in, changed it too fast down pit road, but I just quickly want to make the point of the top 10 guys in points. Only Ricky Craven and Chad Little have not suffered problems today. David Green, Kenny Wallace, Dennis Setzer, Larry Pearson, Bobby Dotter, Johnny Benson, and Tracy Leslie have all had their problems, although Kenny Wallace is still moving around out there.
Dale Jarrett's gone behind the wall. As he retires, he becomes number 19 out of the race. Taking a look at the running order here, Darrell.
Derek Cope has pulled himself back up in the hunt. They got single file, and he got away from Phil and Chad back there, and he's pulled himself back in the hunt.
14 to go. Front 3, and then an interval of 8 to 10 car lengths back to 4th spot. Derek Cope runs in 3rd, Parsons in 4th, Chad Little in 5th, a little further back.
Cope is closing big time. He's running a little higher line down here in 22, and that's really paying off for him.
And still another lap on poor David Green. But Green is running at a pace and staying in 19th. Meanwhile, Craven is up to 9th with the latest retirement.
Patrician right now is David Green's best friend. Cars that fall out right now are moving him up.
Well, here you see car number 20. That's Hensley running 11th. Last guy's in the lead lap. Benson is there. And you see also the Jeff Green car, number 76.
You know
and Jeff Green's had a really good day.
You know what that 20 and 74 have in common, don't you? They both knocked the fire out of the wall off of turn 4, and they haven't run very well since.
Well, you take a look at Jeff Green driving in place of Pat Davison today. Just behind those leaders. Jeff ran 3rd at Bristol. And when he filled in for Uncle Mike.
Uncle Mike, yeah. Jeff and David both are excellent race car drivers. They're from Owensboro, Kentucky. We got us a little Owensboro clan here. The 2 Green boys, me and Michael, and gosh, Kale's driver right there. Can't call his name. Jeremy Mayfield. He's from Owensboro. So we got us a good little core here right now.
It's nice to see those local heroes get that. We know we feel the same way up north about Ricky Craven,
yeah,
Joe Bessey, and those guys we used to see run at Thunder Road. Now they're down here making a mark. Randy LaJoy, as we mentioned, he's not in this 20 today. He's injured, head injury, 10 to go. And Jimmy Hensley is taking over. He took an awful lick up here, as did Kevin LePage. Yeah. LePage, I believe, has retired the teddy bear car.
Yeah, he did.
And he was on his second car. He used up a car out here on that day when 10 different folks crashed.
Well, it's a shootout, folks. 10 to go. We're in the last 10 laps of this 300-mile race, and we've got 3 bona fide winners right here fighting it out. There's the first. 2 Fords against a Chevrolet right now.
There's Labonte first, Martin second. Derek Cope right there in third. Don't forget, the NASCAR Showcase coming up right after our broadcast today. Don't forget tomorrow. Yellow 500 right here on TBS. Wartburton, talk about where they're proud of their racers. South Boston, Virginia, up in there. Virginia has so many great fans. Boy, they're excited about the performance of Mr. Billick's car and Wartburton with a new track record at over 100, almost 186 miles an hour. That's fast, DW.
That's right. That Hoosier shot. Hot is Monte Carlo, or LaLumen, I guess it is right now, be Monte Carlo next year.
You do that Virginia thing very well.
Yeah, that old Hottie's car's running good.
Take a look at Terry Labonte running real good right now. And Martin trying to gather it up here and take one more stab at pulling this one out of the fire. 192 complete. 193 when they come by.
Yeah, Mark keeps trying to get under Terry. I don't think he can. I think if Mark gets to racing Terry here, we're going to have Derek Cope all over the back of both of them. So this could be an interesting last lap or two if Terry and Mark get to racing each other. I can see 3 wide down the back on the last lap.
20-car interval. More than that now. It's really developed. Back to Chad Little.
Phil Parsons. Yeah, Phil is kind of falling off the pace. It's a 3-car shootout right now. You see how much higher Terry's running through the turn than Mark is? That carries a lot of speed onto the straightaway. Mark's got a quicker line down low, but Terry's carrying more straightaway speed. And it's going to be hard for Mark to get under Terry and pass him.
Well, it's
see the middle of the turn right there, how Mark kind of closes up, but then all of a sudden Terry gets him about 4 or 5 car lengths. He's just got the car's a little freer right there than Mark's is.
How much difference is the entrance at 3 than the entrance into turn 1, Darrell?
Oh, it's totally. You see where Mark is, right down on the white line, and down here in turns 1, when you go in, it's always been a little bit of a bump there where you go into that turn, and it upsets the car a little bit more than it does in 3.
5 to go.
5 to go. This is going to be a good one, folks. You got your money out, lay it down. Let's call it.
Watch that stuff.
Watch that stuff? Man.
Happy hour coming up for Darrell Waltrip, and his happy hour, as race folks know, is a little different than most people's happy hour.
Yeah, we get an hour of practice. We get to get out here and get our cars ready for the race tomorrow, and the track will be totally different than it's been any time since we've been here. Whoa, Chad, a little high around Phil Parsons back in there. I think Phil's off the pace.
Yeah, Chad Little's just moved around Phil Parsons and taken over in 4th. Phil backing up a bit here. Don't want to go away from this one, folks, as Terry Labonte strives to take another Grand National victory. Mark Martin staying right with him as we get to the final moments. 2 wins already this year for Terry at Rockingham and at Watkins Glen. And, of course, you know the Mark Martin story. Won everything.
If there's going to be a pass, it's got to be in turns 3 and 4.
And look at Phil Parsons in trouble, final moments.
Yeah, something happened here with 3 or 4 laps ago. That's sad. I run hard all day. You use up your car, use up your tires. You spend as much money as the guy that wins the race, but you don't get any results.
But he gave us a great show for a long time, and perhaps some car owners won't forget that. Oh, in trouble. And he catches the 92. Pearson's car caught up. This is going to end this race at 197. They'll race back to the line, and as they come, you can give this victory to Terry Labonte.
Right.
Give second place to Mark Martin and Cope in 3rd. Something amiss with Parsons. It came up, it caught Larry Pearson, and that's how it's going to end this afternoon. in the All-Pro Bumper to Bumper 300. We got to see that one again, Darrell.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Phil was backing up. Something breaks on it. It blew a tire. Yeah, it blew a right front tire. You see the rubber flying up over the front fender over there. He blew a right front tire and just caught that 92 car in the process.
Well, and after all you had just said about trying so hard, running so well.
I mean, here we are,
and the
folks.
frustration. And again, it's the frustration for Phil Parsons.
Yeah. 2 laps to go, and you know, you come home in 4th place, and that's a decent payday for a guy like that. He's an independent guy, and that's his car. He and his wife own that together, and that's a heartbreak.
He had just fallen to 5th. BOWN had just moved around, and they're going to end. The white flag is about to be thrown out. Here's Parsons out, and the good news is he's okay. And the bad news is that car, at least the front clip is gone, and it can be more. And Larry Pearson looks to be all right. There's the white. And it's all over but the shouting this afternoon on this one for Terry Labonte to take his 3rd Grand National win of the season and stop the domination of Mark Martin's Ford. It's a Chevy victory in the 300.
Interesting, huh? And I got to race that guy tomorrow. I got to race the guy behind him. Matter of fact, I got to race all those guys tomorrow. Woo.
Yeah, and when you do, you got all those kids, as we speak of tomorrow. Those kids are all up in front at 1 o'clock when they drop this one. Is it going to be the veterans? Is it going to be the savvy guys? Or are these youngsters going to be a little patient and give you some woe?
Yeah, well, of course, tomorrow's a Mela Yella 500. It's not a 300-mile race, and I think attrition is going to be a factor tomorrow. I think if it stays overcast, this is a much different racetrack, as we said in the opening, and it is if the sun's out. So you get up in the morning, you peek out the curtain and hope the sun isn't shining. You don't want it to rain, but you don't want the sun shining either.
Because if it does, you get so much stick, so much grip. A lot of you are going to find your way into the wall.
Yeah, and that sunshine, it just draws the surface. It draws the oil out of that new asphalt, and it makes it get
So
slick.
how do you go to sleep at night? That's what folks wonder. I mean, how can a guy get you ready to go out here and run 190 down into turn 1 tomorrow and hug that pillow and have a nap tonight?
It's just the thrill of it all. You know, just being here, being a part of this show. That's all. It just makes everything worthwhile.
Coming down for a checkered
could get
flag.
someone to drive my car tomorrow and come up here and join you.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could work that out.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but Cale Yarborough has volunteered his services tomorrow.
You'll never understand a word man says.
Terry Labonte has just won the All-Pro Bumper to Bumper 300. WALTRIP continues to make friends with everybody here today. And we'll be back to meet the champion of this race. What a great job by Terry Labonte. We'll chat with him shortly. A lesson in how to drive a race car, as given today by Terry Labonte. Beautifully done. Here he is in victory lane, and here are the top 5 from our All-Pro Bumper to Bumper 300. Mark Martin, an outstanding performance in 2nd. Derek Hope coming home 3rd. Chad Little picks up in the points. He's 4th. Elton Sawyer, Jim BOWN with a 6th place finish. Now let's go to the Purolator winner's circle.
Terry Labonte is still in his race car. You want to come out? You want to stay there? He's coming out. He wants to come out. It's hot in there. Going to wave at the crowd, wave at the photographers.
I kind of like the car. Doesn't matter. I just stayed there.
He likes the car. Toward the end of the race, it seemed as if everybody was taking a shot at you, Terry. How'd you keep all those guys back there?
Well, MW Windows Chevy just ran great. It really handled good. That's where the difference was. My dad and all the guys did a great job on the chassis. And Mark's car was a little bit loose. He'd get up under me, and I'd just stay real close to him, and I didn't want to let him get ahead because I think he'd have beat me then. So I just stayed right there and made his car a little bit looser, and I was able to hold him off.
So much talk about running wide open. How close to wide open did you have to run to win this?
Pretty close. I guarantee you the last 30 laps I never got completely out of the throttle. You know, it was pretty much wide open all the way, and the car just handled great. It's been a great season for us. You know, we're glad to win another Busch race, and hey, I'll tell you, we're looking forward to tomorrow.
Been a long time, not since 1985 have you won one of these races here at Charlotte. How is it different?
I don't know. It's got new pavement.
Still a happy victory lane?
Yeah, it's great. You know, we've had a great year, and all the guys in the crew have done a great job. And can't say enough for our sponsor, MW Windows. They've been behind us for 2 years now, and you know, we had some great runs last year, and really just picked it up a little bit this season. I think we're a little bit more prepared, and you know, came out of the box running good.
All those crashes, were you close to any of that stuff?
Just one of them when the 2 guys crashed down there. That was pretty close.
Terry Labonte in victory lane for the 3rd time in 1994. Rick Benjamin, to you.
Well, we want to add to Terry Labonte's victory laurels today. The Advance Auto Parts Pits Done Quickly Award will go to Terry Labonte's MW Windows team, led by Terry's dad, Bob Labonte. They did excellent pit work today to keep Terry in contention so that he could take over in the late stages and win today. Advance Auto Parts makes a donation to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of America in the name of the MW Windows Racing Team and TBS Sports. From all of us here, we appreciate the Labonte crew's fine efforts today. Great victory and great pit work today as well. Randy Pemberton.
Well, we're hanging around. We've just missed Derek Cope. We're going to try and catch up with Elton Sawyer. He's hanging here. He had a heck of a run today. Elton Sawyer, what about it? Nice job today. Great run. We're trying to, a lot of carnage down here. We got him now. Elton, great run.
Well, thank you, Randy. You know, my hat's off to Bob Sutton, Brad Atkins, the whole Ford Credit Red Carpet Leads team. You know, we didn't qualify as well as we were hoping, but they worked on this race car all day, and I made a bad call there at the end. I told them to loosen it up a little bit more, and I got it too loose, but I tell you, Humpy's done a great job here. Nice surface, nice and smooth. It's awful fast, so, but we're looking forward to coming back, and my hat's off to Terry. Great job.
And speaking of fast, these Winston Cup guys are fast too. They're already in their cars getting ready to practice for tomorrow. Ken Squire?
And we've got one Winston Cup guy hopping on one foot and then on the other. The greatest driver in this race in the history of it. You won it 4 times, DW. I'm sure you would like to have been out there today, but well, tomorrow's another day.
You know, Ken, as my career goes along here, it's fun to be up here with you. It really is. It's fun to sit up here and watch a race. I go through all the emotions I do when I drive. I know what it feels like to be leading with somebody like Mark Martin all over the back of your car.
Beat on the steering wheel like you beat on Ford.
Same old thing. But it's exciting to be up here and watch a race and to know that I could have been out there if I wanted to be. So I made the choice to be up here, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. This was a wonderful race. It went exactly kind of like I thought it would, and I'm glad I was here.
All right.
Well, look forward to next time.
And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow in the Mellow Yellow 500 when you crank up that Western Auto car. There's the points, folks. It's 56 now with 2 races left. Off to Martinsville, Virginia, Rockingham, North Carolina to complete their season. Final 2 races. Our thanks to DW, Darrell Waltrip, who's scooting out of here. Go down for happy hour, the final hour for the Winston Cup cars, preparing for tomorrow's running of the Mellow Yellow 500. And you'll see it here on TBS. Hope you'll be with us to enjoy it all.